Chapter 3004. Fire Crow Island was where the direct descendants of the Fire Crow clan lived. Apart from the direct descendants of the Fire Crow Taoist, there were also some talented disciples from the side branches. Other talented demons from the Fiend ancestral land could live on Fire Crow Island as well. Fire Crow Island was a place that every demon yearned to live on. All the demons in the Fiend ancestral land aimed to live on Fire Crow Island. After entering Fire Crow Island, one's status would be highly valued. There would be earth-shattering changes. In fact, it was the same as cultivating in a sect. Naturally, the sect would place more importance on talented disciples. Ordinary disciples would definitely not receive as much attention as those gifted disciples. The resources and so on within the sect would also be biased towards those disciples with extraordinary talent. If any faction wanted to remain prosperous, they would have to follow the rules. A relatively fair elimination system had to be set up. The outstanding disciples would be selected and nurtured. This was how a sect could maintain its competitiveness. After entering Fire Crow Island, Feng Yaorao brought Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign saint to rest. Lu Xiaoxiao went to meet the Fire Crow Taoist, the Great Peng King, and the Peacock King. She told them that Lin Feng had arrived. As soon as they arrived, a terrifying aura surged from outside and enveloped Lin Feng's courtyard. "Get out here," a cold voice sounded. "Who is it? Are you looking for a beating? How dare you recklessly cause trouble for us?" The poison ancestor coldly uttered. Lin Feng walked out as well. He saw a group of people rushing over. Lin Feng saw a familiar figure in the crowd. It was none other than Huangdao Xuantian. Huangdao Xuantian was glaring at him with eyes filled with resentment. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He did not care about Huangdao Xuantian at all. When he saw the leader of the group, he could not help but frown slightly. It was a young master who was very handsome. However, there was a haughty look on his face. After seeing this person, Lin Feng felt that this person was somewhat familiar. He carefully recalled some of the people he had met over the years. "It's you." Soon, Lin Feng's eyes shot out a cold light. He remembered who this person was. After Zizhao's death, he went to the Qingyang sect to pick up Zizhao's sister, Ziling Er. Later on, Ziling Er awakened the bloodline of the mysterious Demoness. But who would have thought that it would be snatched away by the passing Tian Fa demon Venerable? At that time, there was a young cultivator beside Tian Fa demon Venerable called Huangdao Bubai. Lin Feng clearly remembered how the invincible Imperial Dao had looked down on him. It was a kind of contempt that came from the soul. It had been many years. Lin Feng finally saw Imperial Dao Bubi again. He had not expected Imperial Dao Bubi to be a member of the Imperial Dao family, a reclusive family in the 9 prefectures. This person was so terrifying back then. After so many years, this person had become even more terrifying. But so what? Lin Feng was no longer the weak youth of the past. "What? Have you seen me before?" Invincible Huangdao sneered as he looked at Lin Feng. He had no intention of placing Lin Feng in his eyes. "Have you forgotten what happened in the Tianwu continent back then?" Lin Feng said coldly. "The Tianwu continent?" Invincible Huangdao was very surprised. He looked at Lin Feng in a deep and meaningful way and smiled coldly. "I was wondering who it was." "So it was you. That ant from back then. I really didn't expect that the ant from back then would turn over a new leaf and become the #1 genius in the 9 regions. That's because you didn't meet me. If you met me, you would be like a pitiful bug that would be trampled under my feet and never be able to rise again." "Where's Ling Er? Where is she?" Lin Feng looked coldly at invincible Huangdao. Back then, Zizhao had saved Lin Feng's life in the land of death, so Lin Feng was very grateful to Zizhao. However, Zizhao had died not far from Lin Feng. Even now, Lin Feng still had not found Zizhao's killer. Ziling Er was Zizhao's only relative. When she had been kidnapped, Lin Feng had been extremely vexed. He had sworn to find her one day. Now, Lin Feng finally saw hope. "Who do you think you are? You think you're qualified to ask me questions?" Invincible Huangdao looked down at Lin Feng condescendingly. It was as if he was looking at an ant. Invincible Huangdao's contempt for Lin Feng seemed to come from his bones. He glanced at Lin Feng with a mocking smile. "Let me ask you, where is Ziling Er?" Lin Feng looked coldly at invincible Huang Dao. You want to know? Sure. Kneel on the ground and beg me. As long as you kneel and beg me, I might consider telling you. Ha ha ha. Invincible Huang Dao laughed loudly, looking incomparably arrogant. Kneel. Hurry up and kneel. That's right. Kneel and kowtow. Then beg Big Brother Invincible like a dog. Big Brother Invincible might tell you. The people around Invincible Huang Dao shouted, looking at Lin Feng mockingly. F***CK. Are you looking for trouble? What the hell? How dare you act so arrogantly in front of our young master? Du Zhu had long lost his patience. He could not help but curse, wanting nothing more than to slap these people to death right now. Lin Feng had already calmed down. He said indifferently, don't pay too much attention to the words of a mob. Ant-like thing. I told you to kneel. Didn't you hear me? What? Don't you want to know where Ziling is? Invincible Huang Dao looked at Lin Feng with contempt. He was clearly toying with Lin Feng. Invincible Huang Dao said with a sinister smile, Lin Feng, you little bastard. Didn't you hear what Big Brother Invincible said? Big Brother Invincible asked you to kneel and kowtow. Do you want us to repeat it again? Now that he had Invincible Huang Dao's support, Invincible Huang Dao was full of confidence. He wasn't afraid of Lin Feng anymore. Swish. Lin Feng's figure flickered, and he disappeared from where he stood. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Invincible Huang Dao. Lin Feng grabbed Invincible Huang Dao's neck and lifted him up. Let me go. Let me go. Invincible Huang Dao struggled violently, but he was unable to break free. Lin Feng, let him go, or I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Invincible Huang Dao said with a gloomy face. Chapter 3005. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng began to count. 1. His voice was cold, as if it was the voice of death that floated out from hell. At this moment, everyone around him fell silent. They could feel the terrifying killing intent emanating from Lin Feng's body. Many people had heard of Lin Feng's character. Lin Feng was a decisive person. Therefore, his words were not just a simple threat to Huangdao Bubi. He could really kill Huangdao Xuantian. Many Devil Clan cultivators in the surroundings were alarmed and rushed over. Many of the newly arrived Devil Clan cultivators were not very clear about what was happening. Someone asked, what happened? Someone said, that young cultivator is the famous Lin Feng of the human clan. He seems to have a conflict with the Huangdao clan. What? He's Lin Feng? Many people were shocked. The cultivators of the 9 prefectures were all too familiar with the name Lin Feng, even though they had never seen Lin Feng in person. Most of them had heard of Lin Feng's name. After seeing Lin Feng, everyone was shocked. 2. Lin Feng continued counting and a cold smile appeared on his face. Help. Big Brother Bubi, save me. Huangdao Sun Tian was shaking from head to toe. He looked at Huangdao Bubai and begged him. He regretted that he had offended Lin Feng in the first place. If it was possible, he really hoped that things could repeat themselves. If he was given another chance, he would never provoke this person in front of him. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Making the Imperial Dao invincible Emperor kneel was simply impossible. Huangdao Bubi's face was extremely cold, revealing a dense killing intent. He looked at Lin Feng as if he was looking at a dead man. He didn't say anything, but in his heart, he wanted to kill Lin Feng more and more. Lin Feng, you'd better let Xuantian go. If you dare to touch Sun Tian, you'll become the enemy of our Huangdao clan. Someone coldly threatened Lin Feng, wanting to intimidate Lin Feng and force Lin Feng to release Huangdao Xuantian. 3. However, Lin Feng ignored the threat of the cultivator from the Huangdao clan and continued to count the 3rd number. When the number was calculated, Lin Feng said indifferently, it seems that the lives of your clansmen are not that important in your eyes. What a cold-hearted person. Don't kill me, Lin Gongzi. Please spare me. I won't dare to provoke you again. Huangdao Xuantian begged loudly. Too late. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He didn't change his mind because of Huangdao Sun Tian's pleading. If his cultivation wasn't strong enough, then the one who would be bullied or even killed would be him. A pitiful person must have something to hate. Since he had already said that he would kill Huangdao Xuantian, he would definitely kill him. He would definitely kill this person. How could he go back on his word? If he went back on his words, he would become a laughingstock. Lin Feng used his finger as a sword, and a dazzling sword chi shot out. Poochie! A tearing sound was accompanied by blood spurting out. Huangdao Xuantian's head was directly chopped off by Lin Feng. Huangdao Xuantian was killed on the spot. I'll take your dog life. Huangdao Xuantian's eyes were filled with killing intent after seeing this scene. He couldn't help but shout coldly. Then, he jumped out and charged towards Lin Feng. Then, he blasted a palm towards Lin Feng. That terrifying palm contained destructive fluctuations. It seemed as if the world was about to collapse. Huangdao Xuantian was indeed powerful. One could see that from this move. In the face of Huangdao Xuantian's attack, Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He sneered and said, "Today, I'd like to experience your divine ability." As soon as his voice fell, Lin Feng condensed the demon ancestor's sacred fist and blasted towards Huangdao Xuantian. Bang! Accompanied by a violent collision sound, Lin Feng and Huangdao Xuantian collided. The power that could topple mountains and overturn seas instantly poured out. It was as if two stars in the void had collided. The airwaves formed by the two of them blasted away the nearby cultivators who were watching the battle. In the past, the little ant's cultivation improved greatly. No wonder you're so arrogant. However, provoking the Huangdao family is the last thing you should have done. In front of the Huangdao family, you're still an ant. Huangdao Xuantian looked at Lin Feng indifferently. His eyes were emitting killing intent and contempt. From the beginning to the end, Huangdao Xuantian had never taken Lin Feng seriously. Therefore, he only had contempt and disdain for Lin Feng. Even though Lin Feng had displayed extraordinary combat strength, Huangdao Xuantian still acted high and mighty, as if everything was under his control. Now, you can prepare to die. Huangdao Xuantian looked at Lin Feng indifferently. He walked towards Lin Feng step by step and began to prepare an even more powerful divine ability. He wanted to kill Lin Feng. Are you still living in a dream? What Huangdao family? You're just a joke in front of me. If I want to destroy the Huangdao family, it won't be that difficult. Lin Feng was not to be outdone. He sneered. You're courting death. Today, I'll send you to hell. Huangdao Xuantian's killing intent was monstrous. He soared into the sky like an eagle and charged towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered and charged towards Huangdao Xuantian as well. He was not afraid of this person. This person's combat strength was heaven-defying. However, Lin Feng was not weak either. He was extremely confident in himself. Stop! Right at this moment, a deep shout rang out. A few cultivators flew over. The person who had shouted was Fire Crow Taoist. Other than that, Dapeng King and Peacock King had also arrived. Other than the three of them, Lin Feng also saw Tian Fa Overlord. He had seen this person many years ago in Tianwu continent. After so many years, his appearance had not changed at all. There were a few experts as well. However, Lin Feng did not recognize them. Those experts seemed to be great emperors as well. Lin Feng guessed that they might be experts from secluded families or secluded sections. Fire Crow Taoist's cold shout contained a powerful force that forced Lin Feng and Huangdao Xuantian to retreat. Fire Crow Ancestral Land does not allow private fights. Both of you, stop, Fire Crow Taoist said. Hearing Fire Crow Taoist's words, Tian Fa Overlord's face turned ugly. Their Huangdao family had lost a member. Now, Fire Crow Taoist was saying that private fights were not allowed. Wouldn't their Huangdao family member have died in vain? Anyone could see that Fire Crow Taoist was biased towards Lin Feng, although he was extremely furious. However, Tian Fa Overlord could not be angry in front of everyone, because this was the Fire Crow Ancestral Land. Naturally, he had to restrain himself in someone else's territory. Huangdao Xuantian's face was extremely gloomy. However, now that Fire Crow Taoist had spoken, he could no longer do anything. Chapter 3006. Lin Feng said indifferently, "Do you really think you're invincible? You're a joke. You know, I'm looking forward to our next battle. At that time, you'll know who's the one being stepped on." Humph. Wang Dao Bubi snorted coldly. His expression was cold and indifferent, but he didn't say anything else. Sky Punishment Archfiend looked at Lin Feng meaningfully and said indifferently, "Young man, it's easy to break if you're too hard." His words clearly contained a deep threat. Of course, Lin Feng could hear him clearly. It was clear. After hearing the threat, he said calmly, "Thank you for the reminder, but you shouldn't say it here, and you shouldn't say it to me. Instead, you should teach the Huangdao clan's disciples properly. You're young, but you have a sharp tongue." Sky Punishment Archfiend sneered. However, he didn't say anything else. Soon, these people left. Lin Feng bowed to Fire Crow Taoist, Great Rock King, and Peacock King. "Let's go in and talk," Fire Crow Taoist said. Lin Feng nodded and entered the courtyard with the three great emperors. After personally brewing tea for the three great emperors, Lin Feng sat down. Only Lin Feng, Fire Crow Taoist, Great Rock King, and Peacock King were in the hall. They were very close. Lin Feng didn't feel restrained in front of the three great emperors. Peacock King asked, "Why did you have a conflict with the Huangdao clan?" Lin Feng then told him about what had happened to Ziling back then. Mysterious witch? That's a special physique that only reincarnates once every million years, or even several million years. Great Rock King said, "I asked Huangdao Bubi, but I didn't get any information about Ziling, Lin Feng said with a gloomy expression, "I heard about this in the past. It's said that the Huangdao clan found a young girl with the mysterious witch physique. I didn't expect you to have such a relationship with her. I heard that some factions were interested in her and wanted to snatch her away. Thus, she was sent away by the Huangdao clan." Fire Crow Taoist said, "Sent away? Where should I send it?" Lin Feng could not help but ask. "It's probably in the Huangdao family's mysterious ancestral land, or it might be the Huangdao family's stronghold in the outer realm. The Huangdao clan has been searching for geniuses with all kinds of physiques all these years. I wonder what they are plotting." Taoist Flaming Crow said, "Could it be that they want to nurture him, and then make him one of the clan's sacrificial warriors?" Lin Feng said, "It won't be that simple. It's too wasteful for such a genius to become the family's men of sacrifice. However, no matter what it is, it can't be done in a short time. It will take a certain amount of time. So, you don't need to worry too much now. As long as you can find a way to find the little girl's current location, you can rescue her." Taoist Flaming Crow said, "Yes, that's all we can do for now." Lin Feng nodded. The Great Peng Emperor said, "The Huangdao clan is extraordinary. Now that we have become enemies, we have to be careful. We will help you keep an eye on the Great Emperor of this clan. If we really fall out with them, we won't be afraid of them." The Great Peng Emperor's words were truly heartwarming. His words were very clear. The three of them were standing on his side, even if it meant becoming enemies with the Huangdao clan. Lin Feng said, "Yes, this junior will remember. I heard from Xiao Xiao that you came to the ancestral land for an important matter." Taoist Flaming Crow looked at Lin Feng and asked. Lin Feng said, "A few years ago, there was a foreign creature called the Evil Scorpion Lord. After a few years of recovery, the Evil Scorpion Lord's strength is rapidly recovering. The threat of these foreign creatures is too great. Once the Evil Scorpion Lord recovers to his peak, I'm afraid that we won't be able to kill him. That's why I came here to invite the three seniors to join me in killing the Evil Scorpion Lord." The Great Peng Emperor said, "Previously, I met the Evil Scorpion Lord in the overseas world. After exchanging a few blows with him, I found that the Evil Scorpion Lord is indeed powerful. Moreover, these foreign creatures are incomparably evil. Thus, killing the Evil Scorpion Lord is a very important matter." Lin Feng continued, "In Fire Crow City, I met the Stone Puppet King. I didn't expect him to be an old friend of my ancestor. Senior Stone Puppet King said that when we deal with the Evil Scorpion Lord, we can inform him to join us." After hearing Lin Feng's words, the Great Peng Emperor, Peacock King, and Fire Crow Taoist were all shocked. They clearly didn't expect Lin Feng to have such a relationship with the Stone Puppet King. Peacock King said, "It'll be even better with the Stone Puppet King's help. However, it won't be easy to kill the Evil Scorpion Lord because he has allied himself with the myriad races, foreign races, and other top forces. Once we make a move, it'll definitely be a war between emperors. A war between emperors. Lin Feng's expression turned grave. He truly hadn't thought things through before, believing that they would be able to kill the evil Scorpion Lord. But now, it seemed that things weren't that simple. Someone as cunning as the evil Scorpion Lord wouldn't be killed so easily. Moreover, with the evil Scorpion Lord's ability, he might have known beforehand that Lin Feng and the others were going to kill him. When the time came, they would join forces with the experts of the various major forces and set up an inescapable trap. Instead, they would be the ones in danger. Lin Feng asked, "What should we do now?" "I'll contact a few great emperors during this period, hoping to invite them to join us," Fire Crow Daoist said. He had a lot of connections in the 9 states. "All right," Lin Feng nodded. "We'll need to wait for a while. We'll try to comprehend a new ability. If we succeed, we might be able to play a decisive role in this battle," Fire Crow Daoist said. Lin Feng was shocked. It seemed that the ability Fire Crow Daoist was talking about was definitely a peerless technique. "You can stay with the devil race for a while, or go to the sacred grounds to cultivate for a while," Fire Crow Daoist said. The devil race's sacred grounds could change the flow of time. Lin Feng had long wanted to go there. He said, "I want to take a look at the devil race's sacred grounds. 3 days later, we'll activate the teleportation array and send you there," Fire Crow Daoist said. "Many thanks, Senior." Lin Feng bowed to Fire Crow Daoist. 2 days later, shocking news spread. Lu Tong and the others of the devil race had led a group of cultivators from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, other external forces, and hidden clans into the land of death, Immortal Gazing Ridge. Lu Tong and the others of the devil race had joined forces with the members of the hidden clans to plot against the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces. They wanted to kill all of them. The top geniuses of the 3 forces fell into the trap. Only 7 or 8 of the 47 top geniuses managed to escape. The rest were all killed in the land of death, Immortal Gazing Ridge. Chapter 3007. There weren't many geniuses who could be considered top geniuses. There were many cultivators from the 10,000 clans, the races from outside, and other influential groups. However, such geniuses were extremely rare. But now, so many geniuses had died. The 3 influential groups were furious. Did you hear? The number 1 genius of the Great Demon Clan, Imo Aoshi, died in the battle. Imo Aoshi was a terrifying cultivator. It's said that he had cultivated for 500 years and was extremely talented. He could have become a great emperor, but he was killed just like that. The Great Demon Clan is furious. Qian Wushang and Qian Wuhuan from the Thousand Feather Tribe also died in this battle. They were the pillars of the Thousand Feather Tribe. When the ancestor of the Thousand Feather Tribe heard about this, he declared that he would slaughter all the demon races in the 9 continents to avenge the deaths of the 2. Even Shang Yuanfa was injured. He almost died in the Immortal Gazing Mountain. Prince Nie was injured too. His body was pierced through. If he didn't have a powerful technique, he would have died. I heard that Yao Ji's clothes were stained with blood. All sorts of rumors were spreading. Everyone was talking about how the top geniuses of the myriad races, the extraterritorial races, and the other foreign forces had been killed. "What's going on with this battle?" someone asked. They only knew that this battle had killed so many of the top experts of the younger generation of the 3 forces, but they didn't know what had happened. Lu Tong is proficient in formations. He once asked Fire Crow Taoist about the many terrifying formations in the Immortal Gazing Ridge. Moreover, Lu Tong risked his life several times to set up these formations in the Immortal Gazing Ridge. That day, they entered the Immortal Gazing Ridge under the leadership of Lu Tong and the others. When they reached the location of the formations, Lu Tong and the others crazily burned their lifespan to activate the formations in the Immortal Gazing Ridge. In fact, it's not easy to activate the formations in the Immortal Gazing Ridge. Everyone was exhausted. I heard that at the critical moment of the battle, the formations couldn't hold on anymore. Lin Feng was astonished. When he said this, he was extremely moved. Sacrificing himself to activate the formation, how much courage did one need to do this? Burning my blood to protect my homeland, dyeing the sky with blood. I have no regrets. Burning my soul to protect my family. Dying 10 deaths. I have no regrets. One by one, the demons began to sing loudly. It was a song that had been passed down for many years. It was called the Battle Song of the Beasts. The 9 continents had been in chaos for a long time. During the ancient chaos era, the 9 continents had fallen into chaos. Terrifying demons from outside had invaded the 9 continents. At that time, the emperors of the human race had died and they were weak. The beasts had new great emperors. Under the leadership of the Dragon Emperor, the cultivators of the 9 continents had defeated the demons. It was an extremely tragic battle. Several great emperors of the demon race died in battle. But in the end, Dragon Emperor, was severely injured. During that battle, the battle song of the 9. You can. You can't lose your homeland, can you life, you country can't you even if the demon blood dyed the sky red. Even if he only had one last breath left. They would also fight for the 9 prefectures. Even if 9 battles and 9 deaths. Even if he died, he would not regret it. With the passage of countless years, fewer and fewer people sang the war song of the demon race. However, this time, the top prodigies of the demon race had killed so many top prodigies of the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other foreign forces without fear of death. This made many demons think of the demon war song again. The monster ancestor's soul was not lost. The will of the ancestors of the demonic beasts existed forever. The demon race's blood did not cool down. The demon race's fighting spirit was eternal. Apart from the few geniuses of the demon clan, a few disciples of the reclusive clans were also mentioned. Nowadays, the reputation of the hidden clans in the 9 regions was not good, but the actions of the disciples of the hidden clans were admirable. The ancestral land of the Yao race. West Mountain Tombs. 2 new tombs had been added here. The 2 demonic disciples who died in that battle were buried here. However, their cenotaphs were buried in the tombs. This was because their bodies had long been completely destroyed. There were many people gathered here. There were cultivators of the demon race and some cultivators of the hidden clans. Lin Feng saw Lu Tong. Now Lu Tong only had one arm left. He didn't know how the battle was carried out, but Lin Feng knew that the battle must have been unimaginably tragic. 2 top prodigies of the demon race died. Lu Tong and 3 other disciples of the demon race were also injured. One of Lu Tong's arms was cut off, and Lin Feng heard that 3 disciples of the hidden clans also died in that battle. That battle slightly changed Lin Feng's view of the hidden clans of the 9 regions. Among the hidden clans, there were also people whose blood had not cooled down. It's said that some reclusive families came to visit and were extremely angry because they were implicated in this matter. These reclusive families blamed Lu Tong and the others. They felt that Lu Tong and the others instigated their disciples to participate in this battle and caused them to become enemies with all the other races. Du Zhu said and told Lin Feng the latest news. These old things of the hidden clans only care about their own interests and don't care about the 9 regions at all. Lin Feng said coldly. The evil supremacy saint said, this time, those who were killed were the top experts of the younger generation. Cultivators with a lifespan of less than 3,000 years are called the younger generation. At least 1/3 of the top experts of the younger generation of the myriad races, the extraterrestrial races, and other foreign forces died. Lin Feng nodded. Every one of the young experts who had died had a frightening identity. Their combat strength was extremely heaven-defying. Almost everyone could become an emperor in the future. But now, they had turned into bones. It was a great loss for these 3 forces. Lin Feng said, the great emperors of the myriad races, the extraterrestrial races, and other foreign forces must be extremely angry, but they can't do anything. This is a battle between the younger generation. Even if they suffered heavy losses, they can only suffer in silence. Du Zhu said, these 3 forces won't take this lying down. There are still some top experts of the younger generation who will definitely come. I'm afraid these people will cause some trouble. I've already expected this. Wait for me to go to the demon race's sacred land to cultivate for a period of time. When I come out of seclusion, I will reap the lives of these people. Lin Feng said with an indifferent expression. At night, Feng Yaorao invited Lin Feng to her residence for a chat. Thinking of the charming Feng Yaorao, Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but jump. Chapter 3008. The night was bright and clear. The silver moon was like a plate. What a beautiful moonlight! The sound of a zither drifted out from Feng Yaorao's room. Feng Yaorao seemed to have lost some of her charm and allure today. She seemed to have gained some immortal energy. She was originally a woman of the heavens and earth. Immortal energy swirled around her body. One couldn't help but marvel at her beauty. Lin Feng sat to the side and silently listened to Feng Yaorao's beautiful music. After hearing that beautiful music, Lin Feng felt as if his soul was about to leave his body. Feng Yaorao wasn't just beautiful. Even the sound of her zither was so beautiful. It was an extremely beautiful sound. After the sound of the zither ended, Lin Feng looked at Feng Yaorao with a smile. What a beautiful zither sound. I've heard many people play the zither, but there are less than 3 people who can play such a beautiful zither sound. Feng Yaorao stood up and said with a smile, "This song is called the Immortal Song. It's rumored that it was passed down by a celestial maiden from the heavenly realm. It's not that my zither sound is beautiful. It's just that this song is too beautiful. Not everyone was able to play a beautiful tune, even if it was a good tune." Thus, Feng Yaorao's words were all modest. Feng Yaorao knelt beside the table in front of Lin Feng and poured tea for Lin Feng. An alluring fragrance wafted into Lin Feng's nose. Such beautiful scenery and such a peerless beauty really made one's heart flutter. Lin Feng said, "I heard that uncle also came to the kingdom of the 9 states with you. Why don't I see him?" Feng Yaorao's father, the heavenly wind god, was one of the 9 great pirate lords of the Tianwu continent. He controlled the demon god's pirate ship. This demon god's pirate ship was not simple. It was rumored that it was an immortal ship forged by a powerful demon god during the era of the titled gods. There were many secrets hidden on this ship. However, only the heavenly wind god himself knew what secrets it contained. Since the heavenly wind god had obtained that demon god's ancient ship, it was very likely that he had also obtained that demon god's Tao legacy. Thus, the heavenly wind god was definitely not to be underestimated. Even before the heavenly martial continent had undergone such a drastic change, the heavenly wind god was already a being that no one dared to mess with. After coming to the 9 regions, his strength must have improved by leaps and bounds like the Peacock King and the Great Peng King. Feng Yaorao said, "My father went out to sea and headed towards the Northwest Sea region. Is there anything special in that sea?" Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. A mighty figure like the heavenly wind god naturally had a goal in mind. He definitely wouldn't go out to sea casually. Perhaps there was something astonishing in that area of the ocean that had attracted the heavenly wind god's attention. Feng Yaorao said, "I heard that there is a fallen island in that sea area called Lulan Island. Father went to look for Lulan Island." Lin Feng said, "I've heard of the ancient city of Lulan, but what kind of place is Lulan Island? This is the first time I've heard of it." It was rumored that countless magic treasures of this era were buried in the ancient city of Lulan. There were even rumors that said that one could find materials to refine ancient weapons, as well as materials to construct the divine court and the door of everlasting life in the ancient city of Lulan. From this, one could see just how many astonishing secrets were hidden in the ancient city of Lulan. Many people had gone to look for the ancient city of Lulan that had disappeared in the river of time. However, no one had heard of anyone finding the ancient city of Lulan. I heard from my father that Lulan Island is related to the ancient city of Lulan. They disappeared together, so there must be many astonishing treasures hidden in Lulan Island. If we can find Lulan Island, we might even be able to find clues about the ancient city of Lulan," Feng Yaorao said. Lin Feng was shocked to hear this. If that really was the case, then it would be far too astonishing. Countless powerful beings would definitely go crazy over the ancient city of Lulan. Even immortals would probably go crazy over it. "Have you heard from father-in-law recently?" Lin Feng asked. He was very concerned about this matter. When Feng Yaorao heard Lin Feng call her father father-in-law, she couldn't help but roll her eyes in a flirtatious way. She then continued, "I received a letter from my father a few days ago." Feng Yaorao pulled out a jade tube as she spoke. The heavenly wind god's letter was not a traditional paper letter. Instead, it was a jade tube that could be imprinted with images. Lin Feng's divine sense entered the jade tube, and he immediately discovered that he had arrived in a boundless ocean. A massive ship was sailing through the ocean. This was the Heavenly Wind God's demon god pirate ship. The Heavenly Wind God stood on the deck of the ship with a smile on his face. We're gradually approaching Lulon Island. Perhaps we'll be able to find the island soon. The Heavenly Wind God didn't say anything else aside from this simple sentence. He was sending this to Feng Yaorao so that she wouldn't have to worry. Looks like father-in-law really is going to find the island of Lulon, Lin Feng said. He passed the jade tube to Feng Yaorao. Feng Yaorao stowed the jade tube away. That's right. I hope father can find the island of Lulon without a hitch. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little restless at the sight of such a peerless beauty right in front of him. Lin Feng wrapped an arm around Feng Yaorao's slender waist with a smile. It's so boring to just sit here on such a beautiful day. Why don't we do something more interesting? Feng Yaorao blushed slightly. What do you mean? I can see that you're very proficient with the ancient zither, so I know that you're also someone who likes music. I just so happened to be researching how to strike the chime bells a while ago, and the music produced by the chime bells is truly beautiful. However, it's very difficult for me to strike the chime bells by myself, so let's not research the chime bells today. How about we research the flute instead? Lin Feng proposed with a smile. Flute? Feng Yaorao turned to Lin Feng with a confused expression. That's right. Actually, the flute is very interesting as well. For example, the flying snow jade flower, wild geese descending on flat sand, iron blood loyal heart, peach blossom crossing, calm lake autumn, and so on are all very beautiful flute scores. However, my favorite is still the 3 plum blossoms. Let's research the 3 plum blossoms tonight, Lin Feng said with a smile. The autumn frost was like a cold night. The beauty was dressed in red and beaded. The jade wall moved the hearts of people. The 3 plum blossoms sang in the night. The next day, the teleportation array was ready. Lin Feng planned to head to the demonic beast sacred ground to cultivate for a while. Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage followed him. The array was activated. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage were teleported out. One day later, Lin Feng and the others flew out from the spatial tunnel and landed in a mysterious place. This was an independent space, and it should be the demonic beast sacred ground. However, it was clear that the demonic beast sacred ground was not the same as the Fire Crow clan's ancestral land. Instead, it was somewhere else. As for where it was, no one knew. Perhaps only the Fire Crow Taoist knew. The demonic beast sacred ground emitted a faint mist. Chapter 3009. As expected of the Holy Land of the Demon Clan. Even these places outside have immortal qi. It's really extraordinary, Du Zhu said excitedly. Immortal qi had a great effect on cultivators. Lin Feng said, cultivating here for a year is only 10 days outside. Cultivating here for 3 years is only 1 month outside. Now that there are many things outside that need to be dealt with, we can't cultivate for too long. How about this? Let's cultivate here for 3 years before going out. 3 years is not a short time. We will definitely be able to improve greatly, Du Zhu said. Lin Feng then took out 2 jade tokens and handed them to Du Zhu, an evil sovereign saint. He said, there are many cultivation cave abodes here. Every one of them is set up with a powerful array. I also heard that there is a spirit spring that contains immortal qi. Take the jade tokens and find a cave abode to cultivate in. Okay. Du Zhu, an evil sovereign saint, each took a jade token. Then, they bid farewell to Lin Feng and went to find a cultivation cave abode. Lin Feng wandered around the mountain forest. He also began to look for a suitable cultivation cave abode. Fire Qilin, Little Rock King, Princess Shuiyao, Little Moon, and the rest were all cultivating here. However, Lin Feng did not know which cave abode they were cultivating in. Moreover, it was taboo to be disturbed when cultivating in seclusion. Lin Feng naturally did not want to disturb them at this time. Dragon Fixing Vein, Immortal Seeking Spring, 9 Dragons Ascending Sky Pillar. All spells are destroyed. Lin Feng could not help but recite an incantation. He was looking for a cultivation cave abode. Lin Feng found a few cave abodes one after another. However, he was not particularly satisfied with them. Therefore, he did not cultivate in them. Instead, he continued to look for the cave abodes he needed. This space was very large, and there were many spirit veins. There was a cultivation cave abode in every spirit vein. Lin Feng also found a few cultivation cave abodes that he liked. However, he found that the restrictions of those cultivation cave abodes were already activated. Clearly, there were already people in those cultivation cave abodes. Therefore, he had no choice but to find another cultivation cave. Finally, Lin Feng found a cultivation cave that he was very satisfied with. Although this cultivation cave was not big, the spirit spring here was very thick. It was as thick as a baby's arm. The spirit spring contained an astonishing amount of immortal qi. Moreover, the spirit gathering array in the immortal cave had also gathered a large amount of immortal qi. Lin Feng drank a mouthful of spirit spring water and immediately felt his whole body become incomparably comfortable. This kind of spirit spring water could not only increase one's cultivation. Furthermore, it could also cleanse a cultivator's body. For the next 2 years, Lin Feng cultivated in the cave. 2 years had passed and Lin Feng's cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds. Originally, Lin Feng's cultivation had already reached the 10th step. In these 2 years, Lin Feng's cultivation had made continuous breakthroughs. In the end, it stopped at the 15th step. Lin Feng was very satisfied that his cultivation had improved so much in just 2 years. He estimated that there were still 2 or 3 months left before the 3 years he had originally planned to cultivate. Therefore, Lin Feng did not plan to continue cultivating. He planned to take a good look at the demon's sacred land. Lin Feng left the cave and then strolled around the demon's sacred land. That night, Lin Feng saw a blazing flame rising in the depths of the forest. In the flame, there was a fiery red crow circling. That fiery red crow was actually a fire crow. Although it was very far away, Lin Feng felt that the fire crow seemed to be looking at him. This feeling was very strange, but also very strong. Lin Feng flew towards the fire crow. However, the fire crow turned and flew towards the depths of the forest. Lin Feng chased for a long time, but was unable to catch up to the fire crow. The fire crow's speed was really too fast. In the end, the fire crow disappeared. Is it a real creature? Lin Feng frowned. He could not be sure if that fire crow was a real fire crow or not. He felt that it was a phantom branded by the world. Lin Feng hadn't sensed any life qi from that fire crow. That is. Suddenly, Lin Feng looked into the distance and saw a chain of palaces. The demon's sacred land actually built such a huge chain of palaces. Is there a deeper meaning? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. He flew towards the chain of palaces, but Lin Feng discovered that no matter how he flew, he could not get close to the chain of palaces. That place is very strange. Lin Feng could not help but frown slightly. That chain of palaces seemed to be an untouchable place. Lin Feng did not know if others had seen the chain of palaces in the demon's sacred land. Or was he the only one who had seen the chain of palaces? Lin Feng opened the heavenly demon snake eye. The heavenly demon snake eye was known as the eye of truth, the eye of origin. He could see some things that were invisible to the naked eye. When Lin Feng opened his celestial beast eyes, he saw something astonishing. In the void, a small path appeared in his field of vision. It was a path formed by divine light. Endless power of runes swirled around it. When he saw the path, Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. The path connected to the chain of palaces. He stepped onto the path. He should be able to reach the chain of palaces. Lin Feng flew towards the path in the void. Finally, he landed on the path and walked along it. Originally, the chain of palaces was a bit blurry, but as Lin Feng walked towards the chain of palaces became clearer. The chain of palaces became clearer and clearer. Suddenly, Lin Feng saw the fire crow that had disappeared. It had actually appeared in the chain of palaces. Lin Feng was very surprised. He had not expected this at all. It appeared in the chain of palaces. Was that fire crow trying to lure me here? Lin Feng could not help but ponder. He had a feeling that this matter was not simple. Perhaps there was a deeper meaning to it. Lin Feng increased his speed. Finally, after 2 hours, Lin Feng arrived in front of the chain of palaces. When he arrived, Lin Feng felt a saintly aura envelop him. The aura made him feel like kneeling on the ground and kowtowing. Lin Feng saw a huge statue. The statue was of a Taoist holding a horsetail whisk in his hand. Who is this? The ancestor of the Fire Crow clan? Lin Feng could not help but mutter. His origin is very great. So great that even after countless years, he will not be forgotten. Even in this era, many people still talk about him. At that moment, an old voice suddenly sounded. Lin Feng was shocked. He looked to his left and saw a skinny old man appear there. Chapter 30:10. When he saw the old man, Lin Feng's face instantly revealed a look of extreme shock. Who was this old man? When had he appeared? Even with his cultivation, he hadn't been able to sense when the old man had appeared. Just how terrifyingly powerful was this old man's cultivation? When he thought of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel astonished. This old man was definitely an extremely terrifying existence. This junior is Lin Feng. Greetings, senior. Lin Feng bowed to the old man. The old man smiled and said, "What senior? I'm just an old man who sweeps the floor." As the old man spoke, he waved the broom in his hand. Lin Feng naturally didn't believe that this old man was just an old man who sweeps the floor. Given how powerful this old man's cultivation was, he was definitely a terrifying existence. However, Lin Feng had no idea what this old man's identity was. Lin Feng said, "Senior, you said earlier that this senior has an extremely powerful background. Can you tell me who this senior is?" The old man said, "First there was Hongjun, then there was Sky. Taoist Luya came before him." When he heard these familiar words, he was stunned. Lin Feng's face instantly revealed a look of shock. A name instantly surfaced in his mind. Taoist Luya. Could the Taoist carved on this statue be the famous Taoist Luya? Before the heavens and the earth were created, Taoist Luya had already been born. As one of the four titans of the primordial era, Taoist Luya was naturally widely known. Speaking of which, Lin Feng actually had some ties with Taoist Luya. In the past, he had obtained Taoist Luya's soul secret technique. Luya's stargazing divine technique had helped Lin Feng turn the tides of battle many times when he was in great danger. It was rumored that the Fire Crows were related to Taoist Luya. Now, there was actually a statue of Taoist Luya in the sacred land of the Fire Crows. Lin Feng felt that the rumors might be true. The Fire Crows really were related to Taoist Luya. The old man said, "Young friend, you should know his true identity now, right?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "Yes. This junior knows this senior's identity." Lin Feng then asked, "It's rumored that the Fire Crows are the descendants of Taoist Luya. Is that rumor true?" Time has passed, and it's hard to tell whether or not some rumors are true or false. When we think they're true, they're true. When we think they're false, they're false. The old man said. Lin Feng thought about the old man's words. He then asked, "May I know what this palace complex is?" "This is the sacred ground of the Fire Crow clan, and it enshrines the ancestors of the Fire Crow clan." The old man nodded and said, "Yes, every palace is dedicated to an ancestor." Lin Feng noticed that there were at least 200 to 300 palaces here. If every palace was dedicated to an ancestor of the Fire Crows, it would seem that many experts had appeared in the history of the Fire Crows. Where did the Fire Crows originate from? Lin Feng asked. "The demon realm," the old man said. Lin Feng continued asking, "Why did they come to the 9 prefectures?" Too much time has passed, and this part of history has been forgotten. No one knows why the Fire Crows came to the 9 prefectures. Even the Fire Crow clan's clansmen are unable to find the truth of this matter. The old man answered. Lin Feng didn't know if the old man was telling the truth. He had a feeling that the old man's words couldn't be trusted completely. Lin Feng continued asking, "Was that Fire Crow real? Or was it just a brand?" "That's the spirit of the Fire Crow. It's condensed from the spirit of the ancestors of the Fire Crow clan. Normally, very few people can see the spirit of the Fire Crow. Even the members of the Fire Crow clan can't see the spirit of the Fire Crow. I didn't expect that an outsider like you could see the spirit of the fire crow. The old man sighed. He seemed to find Lin Feng's arrival inconceivable. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Did he see the fire crow spirit because of Lu Ya's stargazing chart? Lin Feng felt that this was very likely the reason. He had cultivated Lu Ya's stargazing chart, and he had finally seen the fire crow spirit. Then, he had followed the fire crow spirit to this place. He had seen the palaces. Lin Feng didn't tell the old man about Lu Ya's stargazing chart because he didn't know what the old man's attitude would be. If the old man harbored ill intentions toward him, wouldn't he feel like crying when the time came? Lin Feng said, "Maybe I'm fated with this place. Can I understand it that way?" The old man gave Lin Feng a deep look and said meaningfully, "Maybe it's just as you said. You really are fated with this place, and that's why you were able to come here. After so many years, the number of people who have come here can be counted on one hand." Then, the old man walked deeper into the palace and said, "Come with me. Let's go to the sacred palace and pay our respects to Taoist Lu Ya's statue." "Yes," Lin Feng replied and followed the old man into the depths of the palaces. In the deepest part of the palaces was a huge palace. That palace should be the sacred palace that the old man had mentioned. The sacred palace was very old, and it was shrouded in holy light. One could vaguely see a statue in the middle of the palace. It was none other than Taoist Lu Ya's statue. The old man stopped outside because the holy light was blocking their path. "Can we enter to pay our respects?" Lin Feng asked. "You can only enter if you can pass through the holy light," the old man said. Lin Feng asked, "How can we pass through the holy light?" "Once you obtain Taoist Lu Ya's recognition, you can pass through the holy light." The old man continued. "How can I obtain Taoist Lu Ya's recognition?" Lin Feng asked again. The old man shook his head. "I don't know either." Lin Feng tried to enter the sacred palace. However, the holy light that enveloped the sacred palace swept out a gentle ray of light. That gentle and soft light crashed onto Lin Feng's body and sent him flying away. He was unable to pass through the holy light and enter the sacred palace. Everyone who enters this place will give it a try, but the number of people who succeed in the end can be counted on one hand, the old man said. Lin Feng tried several times, but he failed every time. Thus, he began to activate Lu Ya's stargazing chart. Lin Feng did not know if it would work. However, he had to try everything he could. When Lu Ya's stargazing chart was activated, something shocking happened. The holy light emitted a holy radiance that enveloped his body. Lin Feng was shocked. He walked toward the holy light and actually passed through it. Chapter 30:11. "I've transmigrated here," Lin Feng said in surprise. Lu Ya's star observation chart was really magical. Now, he had used Lu Ya's star observation chart to transmigrate through the holy light. Would he be able to obtain something amazing from here? Lin Feng couldn't help but look forward to it. "Young friend, you're fated with Taoist Lu Ya," the old man sighed. "Then, I'll enter the sacred hall to pay my respects to Senior Taoist Lu Ya," Lin Feng said. "Go on. Remember, it'll happen if you're sincere," the old man said. "I'll remember it. Thank you for your teachings, Senior." Lin Feng bowed to the old man and then turned to walk towards the sacred hall. He was pondering over the old man's words, because Lin Feng felt that the old man's words contained a deeper meaning. However, he wasn't sure if that was the case. Or was he just overthinking? There was an ancient tree planted in front of the sacred hall. This ancient tree was actually a Bodhi tree. This was the legendary immortal tree. In the legends of Buddhism, the Buddha Lord Shakyamuni gained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. In addition, the ancient Buddha Dharma also gained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. He sat there for 80 million years. Therefore, Buddhism treated the Bodhi tree as a sacred tree. It was one of the symbols of Buddhism. Even in the Buddhist world, the Bodhi tree was extremely rare. Now, there was a Bodhi tree planted here. Moreover, this Bodhi tree was a living Bodhi tree. The Bodhi tree wasn't very thick or tall. However, the tree trunk was strong and strong. It was like the body of a dragon. The bark of the tree opened up like dragon scales. Such an ancient tree was really extraordinary. When he got close to the Bodhi tree, Lin Feng could even hear the sound of the great Tao resounding through the world. Lin Feng looked at the Bodhi tree in shock. If he cultivated under this Bodhi tree, he might be able to gain enlightenment of many great Das. The Bodhi tree that was known as the sacred tree of Buddhism was indeed extraordinary. Lin Feng flew past the Bodhi tree and walked towards the sacred hall. Soon, he arrived at the sacred hall. The first thing he saw was the statue of Taoist Luya. This statue was surrounded by holy light and looked extremely sacred. Lin Feng lit the ancient incense beside the table. Then, he inserted it into the cauldron. Then, he knelt and kowtowed to Taoist Luya. After paying his respects, Lin Feng said, "I've obtained Senior's secret soul technique, so this junior can be regarded as Senior's half-successor. Now that I can see Senior's statue, it's really a blessing of 3 lifetimes. I don't know if Senior has any other magical powers to pass down to this junior. This junior will definitely carry forward Senior's magical powers." Lin Feng's wish fell through, because after he finished speaking, the hall was very quiet. Nothing happened. Could it be that I really have no fate with everything here? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. This made him very unwilling. This was because he felt that this place definitely had Taoist Lu Ya's legacy. He was one of the 4 giants of the Grand Mist era. Among the 4 giants, he should be ranked second. For such a terrifying existence, how powerful would his divine ability inheritance be? If he could obtain his inheritance, it would be heaven-defying. Maybe I should sit under the Bodhi tree and have a good moment of enlightenment. Who knows, I might be able to comprehend Taoist Lu Ya's legacy. Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. Of course, this was only Lin Feng's wish. As for whether this wish could be realized, it would depend on whether he could really comprehend the Tao here. He sat down cross-legged under the Bodhi tree. The sound of the great Tao resounded. Lin Feng quickly entered a state of enlightenment. He vaguely felt as if he had turned into a speck of dust between heaven and earth. The speck of dust finally landed on the ground. After an unknown period of time, the speck of dust actually turned into a seed. The seed took root and sprouted, turning into a sapling. The sapling grew very slowly, but it continued to grow healthily. Finally, one day, the sapling turned into an ancient tree. This ancient tree was the Bodhi tree. On this day, a mysterious cultivator shrouded in sacred light came to this place. Lin Feng couldn't clearly see what he looked like. He didn't know who he was either. All he knew was that he should be an extremely terrifying existence. He had an otherworldly aura. That aura made him seem so extraordinary. Lin Feng had the feeling that he was just an ordinary person, a mortal with a mortal body. The person shrouded in holy light was a god, an immortal, a ruler. He was an existence that Lin Feng had to look up to, just like an immortal god. He was high and mighty. He was worshipped and worshipped by the people of the world. At that moment, Lin Feng even felt that the person before him couldn't be Taoist Luya, right? Lin Feng felt that this might be a possibility. But soon, he rejected this idea. Taoist Luya had disappeared for who knew how many tens of millions of years. Ever since the primordial era, when the sentient life forms gradually recovered, the 4 titans of the primordial era had disappeared. How could this person before him be Taoist Luya? What did he come here for? Lin Feng wondered. The mysterious existence entered the palace. After bowing to Taoist Luya's statue, he did something shocking. He actually dug a deep hole in the palace. Then, he took out a huge cauldron. Then, he buried the cauldron in the deep hole. He buried a huge cauldron? What's in it? Lin Feng's face was filled with incomparable shock. This mysterious person had indeed come here for a special purpose. After burying the cauldron, the mysterious person restored the hole to its original state, then hurriedly left. At that moment, Lin Feng awoke from his state of enlightenment. Heavens, was everything I saw real? Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. He felt that everything he'd seen was very likely a scene that had been imprinted in the past. Lin Feng hurriedly rose to his feet, then returned to the palace and bowed to Taoist Lu Ya's statue. Lin Feng said, "Senior, I didn't mean to dig up your palace. Once I've dug it out, I'll definitely restore it to its original state. Please forgive me, Senior." Lin Feng took out some tools and began digging. Soon, he dug a deep hole. Clang! Suddenly, a loud clang rang out. Lin Feng's shovel had struck a metal object. Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. He sped up. Before long, Lin Feng had dug out the pitch-black cauldron. This cauldron should have been buried here by that expert. What exactly is inside this cauldron? Lin Feng looked at the cauldron. To his surprise, he discovered that the cauldron was branded with seals. Countless years had passed. Chapter 30:12. Lin Feng was well versed in formations, and it was precisely because of this that he knew how extraordinary the restrictions on the cauldron were. The passage of time had not worn down the power of the restrictions. It was truly inconceivable. Of course, the power of time was extremely terrifying. Although the power of the restriction had not been obliterated, the power of the restriction had not been wiped out. Although the restrictions had not been worn down, Lin Feng could sense that the power of the restrictions was actually much weaker than before. Therefore, this was a good opportunity to break the restrictions. Lin Feng carefully observed the restrictions and studied their structure. The formation of a restriction was rather complicated. It was formed by lines of formation runes and formations combined together. Once a powerful restriction was formed, it could often erupt with terrifying power. Therefore, one had to be very careful when trying to break the restrictions. The slightest carelessness could cause one to be injured by the restrictions. Lin Feng carefully studied the restrictions on the cauldron. The restrictions were very complicated, and they were surrounded by violent fluctuations that could destroy the world. In order to study the restrictions on the cauldron, Lin Feng spent a total of 3 days and 3 nights. Then, he sorted out his thoughts. He began to try to break the restrictions on the cauldron. After failing 49 times, Lin Feng finally succeeded in breaking the restrictions on the cauldron. Seeing that the restrictions were broken, a smile appeared on his face. Lin Feng hurriedly opened the cauldron's lid. Suddenly, a golden light surged out of the cauldron. The golden light was simply too dazzling. Lin Feng felt as if he could not open his eyes. However, the dazzling golden light quickly disappeared. Lin Feng looked inside the cauldron and immediately discovered that there was a huge golden egg inside. This huge golden egg was oval in shape. It was about half a meter in diameter, and it emitted shocking fluctuations. After seeing the egg, Lin Feng was very shocked. That expert had buried the cauldron in the past, and such a huge egg had been placed inside the cauldron. What kind of egg was this? The giant egg that the powerhouse had deliberately buried in the past was definitely not simple. Perhaps it had an extremely extraordinary origin that could move one's countenance. Lin Feng asked, "Demon Lord, do you know what this egg is?" The Demon Lord said, "If I'm not wrong, this should be a dragon egg." "Dragon egg?" Lin Feng asked in shock. "How do you know that it's a dragon egg?" The Demon Lord flew out and pointed at the veins on the giant egg and said, "Look at what these veins look like." Lin Feng looked at the veins on the giant egg. At first, Lin Feng thought it was a very ordinary pattern on the giant egg. This was because many eggshells had various patterns on them. But when Lin Feng took a closer look, he found that these textures were different. These patterns were shaped like little dragons baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. These patterns were not simple patterns. They were actually dragon patterns. Only dragons had dragon patterns on their eggshells. Moreover, the dragon patterns on the eggshells of different dragons were different. An experienced person could even determine which species of dragon was being nurtured inside the eggshell by looking at the dragon patterns. Lin Feng scanned the dragon patterns with his divine sense. Roar! He could vaguely hear a dragon's roar echoing throughout the world. Then, Lin Feng looked at the dragon patterns and found that the twisting dragon patterns seemed to have transformed into little dragons. These little dragons were extremely strange. They had purple dragon scales, a slender body, and a pair of wings on their backs. Normally, only dragons of the West had wings on their backs. This was because dragons of the West looked like lizards with wings. Among the dragons of the East, only the winged dragons had wings on their backs. However, the purple dragons that Lin Feng sensed were not dragons of the West, nor were they winged dragons. They were a type of dragon that he had never seen before. Apart from having wings, the purple dragons' bodies were very similar to those of true dragons. Their bodies were streamlined, slender, and powerful. What shocked Lin Feng the most was that this dragon actually had a single horn. Dragons usually had two horns. Only flood dragons had a single horn. However, this purple dragon was definitely not a flood dragon. It should be a dragon, and even a dragon with an extremely noble bloodline. After Lin Feng withdrew his divine sense, he looked at the Demon Lord and could not help but ask, "Demon Lord, what kind of dragon do you think this should be? I have never seen a dragon like this before. It's also my first time seeing a dragon like this. Let me check the situation of this dragon egg." As soon as the Demon Lord's voice fell, he stretched out his right hand and pointed at the dragon egg. A divine light condensed. The divine light landed on the dragon egg. The Demon Lord wanted to explore the dragon egg's secrets, but at this time, a terrifying power shook out from the dragon egg, directly shaking the Demon Lord back. Lin Feng and the Demon Lord were both shocked. This was just a dragon egg, yet it had actually forced the Demon Lord back. Wasn't this too extraordinary? The Demon Lord said with a serious expression. "This is definitely a heaven-defying dragon egg," Lin Feng said. "Even the classic of mountains and seas does not have an introduction to this dragon race. Yes, it is indeed very strange. Perhaps it is because they are too rare?" The Demon Lord said. There were many rare races in the dragon race. For example, the divine dragon, heavenly dragon, and other dragon races were very rare. However, divine dragons and heavenly dragons could still be found in some places. Other than that, there were true dragons. In this era, only 9 true dragons had been born. Even rarer than true dragons were the ancestral dragons. A total of 3 ancestral dragons had been born. This is definitely not a true dragon egg, but this dragon egg is so extraordinary. Could it be a descendant of an ancestral dragon? Lin Feng suddenly thought of the 3 ancestral dragons. Rumor had it that dragons were all descendants of ancestral dragons. As time passed, they gradually evolved into true dragons, divine dragons, heavenly dragons, western dragons, and other dragon races. However, the period between the ancestral dragon's birth and the birth of true dragons was a blank period. No one knew what had happened during this period. No one knew what the evolution history of dragons was like during this period. The Demon Lord said, "There is indeed such a possibility. If that is really the case, this dragon egg is too astonishing. Ancestral dragons are existences that can contend against Pangu, Nuwa, and the others. Their descendants can at least grow into immortals." So powerful? Hearing the Demon Lord's words, Lin Feng's eyes widened. At the very least, it would grow into immortals. Didn't that mean that when this purple dragon was born, he could tame it as a mount? In the future, he would have a powerful mount in the immortal realm? At this thought, Lin Feng could not help but feel a rush of excitement. He quickly bit his finger and dripped his blood on the dragon egg to make it recognize him as its master. The dragon egg absorbed Lin Feng's blood. Immediately, Lin Feng felt a very close connection with the dragon egg. Chapter 30:13. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. The dragon egg had formed such a close connection with him. When the dragon egg hatched in the future, this purple dragon would be his mount. Lin Feng had brought out a soul-devouring beast from the 9 hells purgatory. However, the soul-devouring beast couldn't be used as a mount because it was a creature of the netherworld and couldn't manifest itself in the Yang realm. Therefore, Lin Feng had placed the soul-devouring beast in the mountain and river ring and let it cultivate alone. Now that Lin Feng had obtained the dragon egg, it was equivalent to having a dragon as a mount in the future. With Lin Feng's strength, not just any dragon was qualified to be his mount. However, this mysterious purple dragon was definitely qualified. If it really became an immortal dragon in the future, it would be too terrifying. Riding an immortal realm mount, it was truly awe-inspiring and domineering. How can I hatch this purple dragon? Lin Feng looked at the Demon Lord and asked. Yao Jun said, "It's usually difficult for the dragon clan to hatch. The biggest reason is that it's difficult to gather enough energy to support the dragon clan's incubation. However, it shouldn't be difficult for you. You have so many source crystals, half-immortal stones, and even immortal stones, and all kinds of heavenly and earthly treasures on you. I estimate that it won't take long for the dragon egg to hatch. Lin Feng was delighted. Hatching the dragon egg was much easier than hatching the Emperor Archaic. Lin Feng had already bred the primordial ancestral insect. The primordial demon refining insect queen had also laid a large number of eggs. He estimated that the eggs would start hatching soon. As for the Emperor Archaic, he couldn't hatch it for the time being. Hatching the Emperor Archaic was very difficult and required a large number of special insect materials. Lin Feng needed to find those materials before he could hatch the Emperor Archaic. Whether it was the primordial ancestral insect, the Emperor Archaic, the primordial demon refining insect swarm, or the dragon egg, they would all be of great help to Lin Feng in the future. Lin Feng placed the dragon egg back into the cauldron and stored it in his mountain and river ring. Then, Lin Feng filled up the hole where the cauldron had been buried and restored it. In the end, Lin Feng took out some precious spiritual fruits and kowtowed in front of Lu Ya's statue. Then, he kowtowed to Lu Ya. Lin Feng put his palms together and said, "Master, this is a tribute from me. Please accept it. I won't stay any longer. I'll take my leave now." Lin Feng stood up and left the holy shrine. Even though he hadn't received Lu Ya's legacy, he had obtained a dragon egg. Lin Feng was already satisfied. Lin Feng came to the courtyard and saw the Bodhi tree planted in the courtyard. His mind couldn't help but become active. Would he be able to transplant this Bodhi tree into his mountain river ring? Over the countless years, the number of people who could enter the temple could be counted on one hand. It was too much of a waste to leave the Bodhi tree here. Lin Feng felt that it was a waste to waste such a treasure. How could he let such a thing happen? Therefore, Lin Feng felt that there was a need to transplant the Bodhi tree. At this moment, Lin Feng felt that his character was so great. He took out his shovel and was about to do something big. The mysterious old man appeared outside the temple like a ghost. Although he had no way of entering the area covered by the holy light, Although he couldn't enter the temple, his voice could still be heard. The old man said, "A person lives when moved. A tree dies when moved. If you move this Bodhi tree, I'm afraid you'll harm it." Lin Feng muttered in his heart. How could such an immortal tree die so easily? However, he knew that the old man was warning Lin Feng not to have any ideas about the Bodhi tree. Although Lin Feng really wanted to dig the Bodhi tree out, he didn't dare to do so in front of the old man. This old man was too powerful. If he really dug the Bodhi tree out in front of him, what if the old man turned hostile and refused to acknowledge him? He couldn't beat him. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Senior, you've misunderstood this junior. This junior saw some weeds growing around the Bodhi tree, so I wanted to loosen the soil, remove the weeds, and fertilize the Bodhi tree." The old man said, "Every flower and every blade of grass has life. It's better to let them continue to grow." "Yes," Lin Feng replied and kept the shovel. Then, he walked out of the temple. "Little friend, if there's nothing else, you can leave this place," the old man said. "Then this junior will take his leave." Lin Feng bowed to the old man. Then, he left the group of palaces. When he walked out of the group of palaces disappeared without a trace. It was as if it had never appeared. It was like a dream. However, the giant cauldron and dragon egg in the mountain and river ring told Lin Feng everything that had happened before was real. What a pity. What a pity. I missed the Bodhi tree. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel regretful. If he could get the Bodhi tree, this trip would be perfect. However, how could everything be perfect in this world? There would always be some regrets in life. Du Zhu and the evil supremacy sage were still in seclusion. Lin Feng didn't wait for them. He left the sacred ground first and returned to the demon race's ancestral land. Although Lin Feng had stayed in the demon race's sacred ground for close to 3 years, in reality, he had been outside for less than a month. During this period of time, many things had happened outside. A few waves of great emperors joined forces and entered the immortal Gazing Ridge. They saw the distorted dark world that appeared in the immortal Gazing Ridge. These great emperors tried to enter the dark world. Many great emperors met with calamities and escaped with serious injuries. Those great emperors didn't even see anything. Darkness shrouded the world and unknown dangers descended. They were injured because of it. Rumor has it that it's a lost world that hides too many secrets. Many people were discussing this matter. An old ancestor of the Geomaster lineage sealed in stone is about to come out. On this day, a big piece of news was spread. The Geomaster lineage had a long history and had powerful means. This lineage had a strong foundation. Rumor had it that this expert sealed in stone was an existence that had been sealed since the chaotic ancient era and had been sleeping for countless years. Today, the era had come to an end. Destruction and new life were brewing. This ancestor of the Geomaster lineage was unwilling to wait any longer. Chapter 30:14. The Geomaster lineage is on good terms with the myriad races, the foreign races, and other external forces. Now that the ancestor of the Geomaster lineage has appeared, he will definitely be invited by the experts of the three forces to explore Immortal Gazing Ridge together. The Geomaster lineage possesses countless secret techniques, and it is said that they even possess many orthodoxies of the extinct Celestial Master lineage. Their methods are astonishing. With the ancestor of the Geomaster lineage coming together, I'm afraid the secrets of Immortal Gazing Ridge will be revealed to the world. What a pity, what a pity. These secrets are beyond our reach. Even if there is a great opportunity, it will be taken by these people. We have no hope at all. All kinds of news spread quickly outside. More and more experts came to Fire Crow City, all waiting for the ancestor of the Geomaster lineage to arrive. Lin Feng also heard the news, and his expression was extremely cold. The Geomaster lineage and the Celestial Master lineage were mortal enemies, and the cultivators of the Geomaster lineage already knew of his existence. They would definitely not let him off easily. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Lin Feng also wanted to destroy the Geomaster lineage and avenge the seniors of the Celestial Master lineage who died at the hands of the Geomaster lineage. At the same time, he wanted to snatch back the inheritances of the Celestial Master lineage that were stolen by the Geomaster lineage. Lin Feng would see Lu Tong's figure every morning. Lu Tong would head to the Demon Emperor Mountain of the Demon Race's ancestral land. Then, he would sit cross-legged at the peak of the Demon Emperor Mountain and absorb the first purple chi in the world. He had lost an arm, so he could not be like Lin Feng. Even if he lost an arm, he could still recover it through the immortal divine body. When this arm was destroyed, Lu Tong was destined to become a cripple. I heard that facing the morning sun and absorbing the first purple chi in the world can make one's life sublimate, but this requires a long time of precipitation. On this day, Lin Feng came to the Demon Emperor Mountain and said, Lu Tong had finished cultivating. He was looking at the sea of clouds when he heard Lin Feng's voice. He stood up and smiled. I've heard of this before. When Lin Feng saw the smile on Lu Tong's face, he sighed in his heart. Lu Tong being crippled didn't seem to affect him too much. Towards Lu Tong, this person, Lin Feng greatly admired him. Lu Tong asked, Brother Lin, did you manage to gain anything while you were in the Holy Land? Lin Feng said, I've gained a lot. Thank you for your concern, Brother Lu. The members of the Huang Dao clan have already left, but I heard that Huang Dao Bubi is still in the Fire Crow City. It seems like he's waiting for you. He's a cunning man. You should be careful of him, Lu Tong reminded. Lu Tong was a man of great wisdom. Even he was so afraid of the invincible Imperial Dao. One could see how terrifying the invincible Imperial Dao was. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't underestimate Imperial Dao Bubi. Back then, he had only started cultivating for a few years, and Imperial Dao Bubi was already extremely powerful. Back then, even he had to look up to the invincible Imperial Dao Bubi. After all these years, Imperial Dao Bubi's cultivation would definitely rise quickly. Of course, now that Lin Feng's cultivation had increased greatly, he wouldn't underestimate Imperial Dao Bubi. However, he wasn't afraid of the invincible Imperial Dao Bubi. If they fought, Lin Feng feared no one in the younger generation. I'll pay attention to him, Lin Feng said. I heard that Brother Lin has obtained the legacy of the Heavenly Master Clan? Lu Tong asked. That's right. Lin Feng nodded. Lin Feng didn't find it strange that Lu Tong knew that he had obtained the legacy of the Heavenly Master Clan. After all, many demonic beasts knew about it. Others might not be so talkative. However, the fire Qilin had a big mouth. The fire Qilin had lived in the ancestral land of the demonic beasts for so many years, so it was normal for him to talk about it. Lu Tong said, "The Nine Prefectures Earth Master clan is an extremely terrifying clan. Although they usually keep a low profile, they are a power that no one dares to provoke. Brother Lin, you must be careful of the experts of this clan," said Lin Feng. "Thank you very much, Brother Lu, for reminding me. If I had met someone from the Geomaster branch, I wouldn't have been afraid of them. The grudges between our branches are too deep. It's time to resolve them," Lin Feng said. "I heard that Senior Fire Crow Taoist, Senior Great Pung King, and Senior Peacock King are also in seclusion." "Yes, they brought out some things from that dark world, and they also comprehended some divine abilities. They are now cultivating." Lin Feng nodded. Lin Feng and Lu Tong chatted for more than 2 hours before parting ways. That night, Lin Feng, who was sleeping, heard sobbing sounds. The sudden sobbing sounds seemed to have come from hell, causing Lin Feng's hair to stand on end. Lin Feng woke up with a start, but it was not a dream. The sobbing sounds still rang in his ears and mind. Sobbing sounds coming from the immortal gazing ridge. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. He had already heard that kind of crying before. Now that it was happening again, he couldn't help but look solemn. What was the secret behind the sobbing sounds in immortal gazing ridge? The ancient devil ring's runes on his left arm awakened again, along with a burst of violent energy fluctuations. The ancient devil ring's runes turned back into a ring and floated in front of Lin Feng. "What secret are you hiding? Does the sobbing sound in immortal gazing ridge have anything to do with you?" Lin Feng looked at the ancient devil ring and asked. The ancient devil ring was too strange, and it gave him a sense of unease. The only thing worth rejoicing about was that the ancient devil ring had not harmed him yet. Huff, huff, huff. At that moment, a chilly wind blew, enveloping Lin Feng's courtyard. Then, Lin Feng's door was blown open by the chilly wind. A rain of blood fell from the sky. Lin Feng quickly walked out. When he saw what was happening, his face was filled with shock. A rain of blood fell. A chilly wind blew. What was this? Lin Feng felt uneasy. Soon, a sinister and terrifying aura enveloped him. When Lin Feng was enveloped by the aura, he felt that his body could not move. Besides, Lin Feng had the feeling that something terrifying was moving towards him at high speed. However, at this time, he was unable to move. It must be that terrifying existence that imprisoned his body. Lin Feng opened his heavenly demon snake eyes, wanting to see what that existence was. However, Lin Feng could not see anything. Next, an aura of death enveloped Lin Feng. Chapter 30:15. It was a terrible feeling. If possible, Lin Feng did not want to experience such a terrible feeling. There were too many unknown and terrifying things in this world, just like what Lin Feng was experiencing right now. Lin Feng's limbs were cold, and his face was as pale as paper. No matter how hard he tried, he could not break free. It was as if this was fate, something that had been decided long ago. "O great power of fate, please grant me the power of fate. I want to control my own fate." Lin Feng began to chant an incantation. Although his body had been sealed, he could still move. After he chanted the incantation, the power of fate descended from the sky. When the power of fate enveloped Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng found that he could finally move. Whoosh! He quickly retreated. Then, a terrifying power swept past Lin Feng's body. It was extremely dangerous. If he had been a step late, the consequences would have been unimaginable. The rain of blood became denser and denser. The chilly wind became stronger and stronger. Lin Feng felt as if the entire world had turned into a living hell. He grabbed the ancient devil ring and shouted, "Did you bring all of this upon me?" However, the ancient devil ring did not respond to Lin Feng. A ball of darkness appeared. It was a ball of darkness that could devour life. Wherever the darkness passed, flowers and trees would instantly wither. Even the stones were reduced to dust. Everything had a life of its own. Even if it looked like a rock that wouldn't decay, it would be completely destroyed after a long period of time. Just like what he was seeing right now, it was simply too horrifying. The ball of darkness enveloped Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression changed greatly. He wanted to soar into the sky and leave the courtyard. However, the ball of darkness had already enveloped him. Lin Feng was shocked. If he was devoured by the ball of darkness, no matter how long his lifespan was, only death would await him. The ball of darkness was about to devour Lin Feng. Suddenly, the ancient devil ring on Lin Feng's hand vibrated, sending out ripples. These were energy ripples. It contained a mysterious power. When the ripples swept over the darkness was directly shaken away. Soon after, the rain of blood dissipated, the chilly wind disappeared, and the world returned to normal. Huff, huff, huff. Lin Feng was panting heavily as he looked at the ancient devil ring with an uncertain expression. An unknown and terrifying demonic event had happened, and it had almost taken his life. All of this was definitely related to the ancient devil ring. Lin Feng couldn't help but worry as the strange sobbing continued to resound in his ears. In the past, not long after obtaining the ancient devil ring, Lin Feng knew that there was something strange about the ancient devil ring. Such an item should not be on him. Therefore, Lin Feng threw away the ancient devil ring. But who would have thought that the ancient devil ring would turn into a rune and imprint itself on Lin Feng's arm? Lin Feng never noticed. It wasn't until many years later that the runes on the ancient devil ring were discovered. Since it was impossible for him to throw away the ancient devil ring back then, it was even more impossible for him to throw it away now. Lin Feng felt that his fate might have been closely linked to the ancient devil ring. The ancient devil ring would attract many demonic events, and he was destined to experience them. Demon Lord, what do you think of the previous events? Lin Feng asked the Demon Lord with a serious expression. The Demon Lord was very knowledgeable and might have a solution. The ancient devil ring is one of the 5 great treasures of the demon realm, and it is filled with many demonic events. No one knows the origin of the ancient devil ring, and no one knows what secrets it hides. However, many people who have obtained the ancient devil ring have died miserably. Now, the ancient devil ring seems to have started to mutate. We have to be on guard against this. Otherwise, your fate might be the same as the previous owner of the ancient devil ring, and you might not even know how you died until the moment you die. The Demon Lord's expression became serious. It was just like what Lin Feng had experienced before. If it wasn't for his amazing methods, he would have died several times over. How could he communicate with the Demon Lord like he was now? Do you have a solution? Lin Feng asked. Let's see if the ancient devil ring has any other changes. The Demon Lord said. Lin Feng nodded and returned to his room. Lin Feng originally thought that he would not be able to sleep for the entire night, but who would have thought that he would fall asleep so quickly? In his sleep, he heard giggles. The sound of the giggles was very pleasant to the ears. It was like the sound of silver bells, and it was very pleasant to the ears. Lin Feng woke up with a start. When he opened his eyes, he found that he was not in his room, but in a field. The giggles that sounded like silver bells came from not far away. There was a young girl there, wearing a snow-white dress. She was so beautiful, like a fairy that had fallen into the mortal world. Come quickly. Big Brother fan, come quickly. The young girl waved at Lin Feng. Big Brother fan? I'm not your Big Brother fan. I'm your Big Brother Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. Come, Big Brother fan, come quickly. The young girl did not seem to hear Lin Feng's words. She kept waving at Lin Feng, asking him to come over. Lin Feng looked around and found that he was indeed alone. He couldn't help but mutter in his heart. Why is she calling me Big Brother fan? Do I know you? You're the one who asked me to come over. Then I'll go over. Lin Feng walked toward the young girl. However, at this moment, Lin Feng's vision suddenly turned black. Then, he returned to the real world. A dream. Lin Feng found himself sitting on a stool. He had fallen asleep, and he had such a strange dream. Who was the young girl in the dream? Lin Feng could not help but ponder. He looked at the ring in his hand. At this moment, the ancient devil ring was emitting a bright light. The runes on it seemed to have awakened. Why did I have such a dream just now? Is it because of this ring? Lin Feng looked at the ancient devil ring in his hand. Looks like I have to go to Immortal Gazing Ridge to take a look. Lin Feng muttered to himself. The demon lord said, "That place is very dangerous. Think twice before you go." Lin Feng said, "The ancient devil ring is becoming more and more strange. It makes me feel very uneasy. I have to go and explore it." After making this decision, Lin Feng decided to go. The next day, he told Feng Yaorao, Lu Tong, and the others about his temporary departure. However, in order to not worry them, Lin Feng did not tell them what he was going to do. Following that, Lin Feng set off alone and quickly flew in the direction of Immortal Gazing Ridge. 3 days later, Lin Feng saw Immortal Gazing Ridge. He could vaguely see a chain of immortal palaces hanging in the clouds. Chapter 30:16. Recently, the matter of the Immortal Gazing Ridge had caused an uproar. Everyone knew about it, so a large number of cultivators gathered around the Immortal Gazing Ridge. These cultivators surrounded the cultivators of the 9 continents, including the myriad races, the extraterrestrial races, and other foreign forces. Therefore, the Immortal Gazing Ridge could be said to be a mix of good and bad people. This was because there were too many cultivators gathered here. Therefore, this place had actually become a trading market. Most of the trading markets were bartering. Many people took out some treasures that they didn't need to trade. After Lin Feng arrived near the Immortal Gazing Ridge, he had been observing it. The Immortal Gazing Ridge was very huge. It was a continuous range of mountains that covered dozens of miles. The entire place was shrouded in a mysterious color. Even during the day, the Immortal Gazing Ridge was filled with cold winds. There are rumors that there is a passage to the underworld in the Immortal Gazing Ridge. Someone once saw the Een soldiers passing through. A cultivator said, "When the Een soldiers passed through, the living beings would avoid them. If one dared to block the Een soldiers' path, they would die an extremely miserable death. I heard that many places of death seem to have passageways to the underworld," a cultivator said with a bewildered expression. Then, an old man said, "That's not the case. Even in a terrifying place like the Immortal Gazing Ridge, there are not all passageways to the underworld. I heard that a few great emperors from the extraterrestrial realm seem to have obtained something. However, I don't know what exactly they obtained." Then, another cultivator said, talking about the great emperors from the extraterrestrial realm. Previously, several waves of great emperors had taken the risk to enter that dark world. There were great emperors from the reclusive families and sects of the 9 continents. There were great emperors from the myriad races, great emperors from the extraterrestrial realm, and great emperors from other planets and great worlds. Some people gained something, while others didn't. The great emperor of the Star Moon clan, Sikong Xian, personally led a few great emperors from the extraterrestrial realm into that dark world. It is said that even with Sikong Xian, the ancient emperor, they suffered heavy losses. The other great emperors almost died. An extraterrestrial cultivator seemed to know some inside information and couldn't help but say at this moment. The Star Moon clan was an extremely large clan among the extraterrestrial races. It was incomparably powerful and was the overlord of the starry sky world. Xing Yuqin, whom Lin Feng had met before, came from the Xing family of the Star Moon clan, while Yu Lingxin came from the Yu family of the Star Moon clan. The Xing family and the Yu family were the 2 peak forces of the Star Moon race. These 2 top forces had been accumulating and settling for many years, resulting in the extraordinariness of the 2 great clans. However, a new clan had risen in the Star Moon clan since ancient times. This clan was the Sikong clan. The history of the Sikong clan was very short because the end of the ancient era was only a few million years ago. The rise of the Sikong clan was due to the appearance of the Sikong 7 heroes. The Sikong 7 heroes were the 7 brothers of the Sikong family. Originally, the Sikong clan was just a small clan in the Star Moon clan. However, the Sikong 7 heroes had also obtained some kind of fortuitous encounter that allowed them to become martial emperors one after another. In ancient times, the Sikong 7 heroes had all broken through to the imperial emperor realm. After a few million years, the strength of the Sikong 7 heroes would definitely increase greatly. Sikong Xian. He was one of the Sikong 7 heroes. He was ranked 7th among the 7 brothers. Who knew how terrifying Sikong Xian's battle prowess was? Moreover, he had several great emperors helping him. In the end, most of them managed to escape with injuries. This showed how dangerous the dark world inside Immortal Gazing Ridge was. What exactly happened to them? Someone asked, wanting to know what had happened to Xikongxian and the others. That's unknown. These great emperors didn't tell outsiders what they had experienced. However, if you think about it, it must be something extremely terrifying. A cultivator answered. A cultivator from the universe Great World said, I heard that places related to the extinction of sentient life forms. However, I don't know if it's true or not. What? There's such a thing? After hearing this, many people couldn't help but exclaim. The era ruled by sentient life forms was full of mystery to the people of today. Those eras had long become the past. Most importantly, there was no introduction to the era of sentient life forms in the Taoist scriptures. Now, the introduction to sentient life forms was only a brief introduction. Some of the content was even made up by the people of later generations. They couldn't believe it at all. Therefore, the people of later generations were very interested in sentient life forms. Moreover, sentient life forms were so powerful. The inheritances and treasures left behind by sentient life forms were bound to be shocking. This would drive countless people crazy. Lin Feng had been wandering outside Immortal Gazing Ridge for a long time. He had heard a lot of useful information. Now, he was preparing. Should he immediately enter Immortal Gazing Ridge to explore? However, not long after, Lin Feng made a decision. He planned to wait a little longer. The ancestors of the Geomaster lineage would arrive soon. At that time, the great emperors of the myriad races, the extraterrestrial races, and other foreign forces would definitely enter Immortal Gazing Ridge with the ancestors of the Geomaster lineage. It might be better to enter Immortal Gazing Ridge before these people entered, because someone would distract them. That way, he would be safer. During this period, experts kept arriving. Not long ago, the myriad races, the extraterrestrial races, and other foreign forces had suffered heavy losses. Therefore, there weren't many top geniuses from the three forces here. Although there weren't many top geniuses, there were many experts of the Mesozoic era. It's him. Suddenly, Lin Feng's eyes narrowed. He saw an expert. It was a thin man who looked quite ordinary. However, Lin Feng knew that he was definitely not ordinary, because that was a Yazi. The 5 Yazis that Lin Feng released in the past had already become powerful. They were the sons of the true dragon Great Emperor. Their bloodlines were powerful, and they now occupied a region in the 9 provinces. Lin Feng only saw one Yazi. He didn't see any others. He wondered if the other Yazis hadn't come here. Or did the other Yazis go elsewhere? Boom! A terrifying aura spread out from the void. A jade sword flew out as fast as lightning and slashed towards the Yazi. The jade sword was surrounded by terrifying sword chi. It emitted a terrifying emperor's might. It was an emperor's sword. Its power was heaven-defying as it locked onto the Yazi. It wanted to kill the Yazi in the void. Jade Void Sword. This is the Supreme Immortal Sect's supreme treasure. A cultivator cried out in surprise. This was an emperor's weapon that was close to an immortal artifact. It was the top emperor's weapon. Now, it was brought out by someone. Chapter 30:17. Yazi's eyebrows suddenly twitched, and his expression couldn't help but turn cold. Someone had actually launched an attack against him. Furthermore, that person had even used a supreme treasure like an imperial armament. However, the Yazi was very calm in the face of such a powerful attack. It waved its right hand, and a river of stars appeared in the sky. Endless sand appeared in the river of stars. The sand gathered together to form a river of sand. The river of sand swept toward the Yazi's illusory jade sword. The illusory jade sword was unable to move an inch after being enveloped by the river of sand. This was an extremely powerful divine ability. It actually blocked the attack of an imperial sword. "Get out here!" The Yazi shouted coldly, raised its left hand, and used its palm as a sword. A beam of sword chi shot out. Buzz! The sword chi shook the void and slashed forward. Suddenly, a cultivator was forced out by the sword chi that had slashed over. When they saw the cultivator, many people were extremely shocked. That cultivator actually had 2 heads. What kind of monster is this? Lin Feng looked at the cultivator in disbelief. He had seen all kinds of living beings. However, this was the first time he had seen a human cultivator with two heads. It was too strange. At that moment, a cultivator said, "Rumor has it that a monstrously talented freak appeared in the Taishang immortal sect in the ancient era. It's said that the freak had two heads, but because he was very different from an ordinary person, he was ostracized. In the end, he seemed to have died during one of the Taishang immortal sect's training expeditions. Could the rumors be false? The Taishang immortal sect deliberately released fake news to deceive the world." Hearing this, the crowd felt that this was very likely. Perhaps the Taishang immortal sect wanted to protect this two-headed human, so they released the news that he had died during training expeditions. However, the truth was that he was still alive and well. Since the ancient era, he had broken through to the Emperor realm, but he was not even an early stage one. At the very least, he was an immortal emperor. The Yazi was powerful enough to lock onto this person and use sword chi to force him to show himself. The two-headed human laughed eerily. "You're quite capable. No wonder you can stir up so much trouble in the Middle Sacred Continent." Yazi sneered and said, "I've long heard that the Supreme Immortal Sect has a great Emperor Realm expert overseeing it. Now, it has appeared. However, I didn't expect that the great Emperor of the Supreme Immortal Sect is actually a monster. You dare humiliate me?" The two-headed human sneered, looking at the Yazi's eyes filled with killing intent. The five Yazis had occupied a large territory in the Middle Sacred Continent and had clashed with the Taishang Immortal Sect several times. The Supreme Immortal Sect had joined forces with the myriad races, the other realms, and the other cultivators from the outside world to deal with the five Yazis. Instead, they were defeated by the five Yazis. Old Yazi. Now that he was being ridiculed by Yazi like this, it could be said that old hatred and new hatred were added together. "Not only will I humiliate you, but I will also kill you." Yazi sneered and charged toward the two-headed human. The origins of the five Yazis were too extraordinary. As the sons of the true Dragon Emperor, the things they had experienced in the past were unimaginable. If they hadn't been trapped in the Forbidden God realm for so many years, their cultivation would have risen to a terrifying level. In the Forbidden God realm, a few of their brothers had died tragically, but they had managed to survive. After seeing the light of day again, their cultivation had recovered very quickly. The Yazi was extremely arrogant and didn't care about the Emperor realm of the Taishang Immortal Sect. The Yazi threw a punch at the two-headed human. A large sun appeared on his fist. This ability was called the Great Sun God Fist. The punch created the image of a large sun. Taishang Heaven Slashing Technique. The two-headed human didn't want to be outdone and used a powerful ability. The Taishang Immortal Sect's ability was passed down from the Taishang. The Taishang was an existence that stood at the top of the pyramid when the Xiantian life forms ruled the myriad worlds. From this, one could see how terrifying the Taishang Immortal Sect's legacy was. Bam! Along with the violent collision, the attacks of the two sides collided fiercely, and a destructive shockwave surged out. The void collapsed. The destructive power of great Emperor-level experts was simply too shocking. Everyone retreated in horror, not daring to get too close. If they were involved in the aftermath of this battle, ordinary cultivators might die tragically. Many people stood in the distance and watched the battle. Everyone thought that the two would have a fierce battle, but things went beyond everyone's expectations. After the two collided once, they quickly flew away. The great emperor of the Taishang Immortal Sect tore through the void and left after collecting the Jade Void Sword. The Yazi didn't continue to chase after the two-headed human. "They're afraid of each other." Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. The reason why they were afraid of each other was that the experts behind the two sides had yet to appear. Therefore, this battle didn't really start. If they were to fight, it would definitely not be a battle between two people. A great emperor battle would break out. But obviously, it was extremely unwise to start a great emperor battle here. This was a place where danger lurked in every corner. Not only were there unknown dangers in hopeful Immortal Ridge, but there were also some great emperors secretly watching. Lin Feng scratched his chin. He had the feeling he should go and see the Yazis. Although Lin Feng was the one who released the 5 Yazi, Lin Feng didn't dare to greet them. Because these Yazi were ruthless. They didn't care if Lin Feng was the one who released them. They might even devour Lin Feng. But now that Lin Feng's cultivation was gradually increasing, his confidence was also growing. He felt that perhaps he could talk to the Yazi about cooperation. But after thinking about it, Lin Feng felt that he shouldn't think about it for now. He still had many things to do. Moreover, the Yazi had strange tempers. He didn't know what they were thinking, so it was better to wait for a while. He would observe the situation of the Yazi in the Middle Holy State. Then he would make a decision. That afternoon, a top expert of the Earth Master lineage arrived. This top expert was called Su Qianzong. He had cultivated for 37,500 years and was now close to the great emperor realm. It was said that he had climbed the 99th stone step. He was one of the saints of the Earth Master lineage and had an extremely important position in the Earth Master lineage. His arrival caused quite a stir. Su Qianzong should have come to investigate the situation in hopeful Immortal Ridge. Since Su Qianzong had come. Chapter 30:18. Su Qianzong has always been cultivating in the extraterrestrial world. He has been to many planets with life and even cultivated in the heavenly sage great world for more than 10,000 years. He has interacted with many cultivators there. A cultivator said, "Isn't he a cultivator from 9 provinces? Why is he cultivating outside?" Someone asked curiously. It's because Su Qianzong's mother is said to be a cultivator from the extraterrestrial world. The cultivator explained. It seems that Su Qianzong's origin is not ordinary, many people exclaimed. Of course. His father is the current vice-sect master of the Geomaster lineage. His mother is from an extraterrestrial race. It is said that his father met his mother when he was traveling through the stars and gave birth to Su Qianzong. The cultivator continued. He seemed to know a lot about Su Qianzong. There's something you don't know, right? Suddenly, another cultivator spoke up. What is it? The cultivator who first talked about Su Qianzong's origin asked curiously. The old ancestor of the Geomaster lineage who was sealed in the stone during the ancient Chaos era is also surnamed Su, the cultivator said. Could it be Su Qianzong's? Many people exclaimed in surprise. He did not finish his sentence, but everyone knew what he meant. The cultivator nodded, confirming everyone's guess. After Su Qianzong arrived, many people appeared and greeted him. These cultivators were mostly from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces. The cultivators of 9 provinces watched coldly from the sidelines. Currently, the Supreme Immortal Sect and the Geomaster lineage were despised by the cultivators of 9 provinces because they were too close to the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces. Naturally, many cultivators of 9 provinces would not be nice to someone like Su Qianzong. However, Su Qianzong did not care. I wonder when the old ancestor will arrive? A cultivator came to Su Qianzong and asked about the old ancestor of the Geomaster lineage. Soon. Let's wait for a few more days. Su Qianzong said. Su Qianzong then entered the Immortal Gazing Ridge. A day later, Su Qianzong walked out of the Immortal Gazing Ridge. Su Qianzong's methods are really heaven-defying. He actually came out unscathed. As expected of a descendant of the Geomaster lineage, he grasps countless wondrous techniques. How shocking! Su Qianzong is still very young. Besides, he's still half a step away from becoming a great emperor. Even he was able to enter the Immortal Gazing Ridge so easily. If the ancestor of the Geomaster branch comes, how strong will he be? That's right. I'm really looking forward to the arrival of the old ancestor of the Geomaster lineage. Many people exclaimed after seeing Su Qianzong come out of the danger zone unscathed. Following that, many cultivators surrounded Su Qianzong and asked him if he had found anything in the Immortal Gazing Ridge. Su Qianzong smiled and said, "The dark world in Wangxian Ridge is becoming more and more real. I just took a quick look and left quickly after sensing the danger." Many people prostrated themselves in admiration of Su Qianzong because that place was too dangerous. Even a great emperor might not be able to escape unscathed, but Su Qianzong had done it. The people of the Geomaster branch were indeed extraordinary. Everyone, Please wait for the arrival of my ancestor. Su Qianzong said and left. More powerhouses arrived one after another. Shang Yuanfa, Gong Zini, Xing Yuqin, Yuling Xin, Fairy Yao Ji, and the others, who were almost killed by Lu Tong and the others, appeared. They had recovered, but their expressions were not good. They had been tricked and had to flee in a sorry state. To them, naturally, this matter could be described as a great humiliation. Even now, thinking about it made them grit their teeth in anger. These people hated Lu Tong and the others to the core. They wanted nothing more than to tear Lu Tong and the others into 1,000 pieces. However, Lu Tong and the others did not appear, so there was nothing they could do. Of course, even after the Battle of Immortal Gazing Ridge, no one dared to underestimate these people. They were as strong as ever, and their combat strength was heaven-defying. Very few people in the younger generation could defeat them. Now, these people were filled with anger, and they wanted to fight a big battle. They wanted to use this to vent the anger in their hearts. Boom! A terrifying aura came from afar, and a cultivator flew towards the ancient forest where Lin Feng was. Then, he floated above the ancient forest. Huang Daobubi turned out to be this person. His divine sense was too powerful. He had discovered Lin Feng's whereabouts. Lin Feng, you finally dare to show up? I always thought that you would be a coward. Huang Daobubi looked coldly at Lin Feng in the forest. What? Lin Feng? Lin Feng is here too? Many people exclaimed. Whether it was the cultivators of the 9 provinces, the myriad races, the extraterritorial races, or other foreign forces, they were all extremely shocked. Lin Feng's name. Who didn't know? Who didn't know? When the cultivators of the 9 provinces heard the name Lin Feng, they felt their blood boiling and surging. When the myriad races, the extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces heard the name Lin Feng, they were both afraid and hateful. The cultivators in the forest where Lin Feng was were all looking at the young cultivator who had been targeted by Huang Daobubi. Those people were surprised. They had noticed Lin Feng a long time ago because Lin Feng had been there the whole time, alone. He had been calmly listening to them. Who would have thought that this seemingly harmless young cultivator was actually Lin Feng, whose name shook the 9 provinces? Lin Feng looked at Huang Daobubi indifferently and said, Huang Daobubi, you should feel lucky that I didn't come looking for you instead of continuing to provoke me. If you have the energy, go kill a few more cultivators from the myriad races, the extraterritorial races, or other foreign forces instead of coming here to find trouble with me. After the disaster of the 9 provinces is over, if you are still alive, you can come looking for me and challenge me. Hearing Lin Feng's arrogant tone and attitude, Huang Daobubi's face immediately turned gloomy. This was because he felt contempt and disdain from Lin Feng. This made Huang Daobubi extremely angry. In Huang Daobubi's eyes, Lin Feng was just an ant from the Tianwu continent in the past. Now, an ant actually dared to look down on him. Huang Daobubi's heart was filled with endless killing intent. Reckless fool, who do you think you are? How dare you be so impudent in front of me? Huang Daobubi's voice was cold as he walked toward Lin Feng. He raised his right hand and sent a palm strike toward Lin Feng. Chapter 30:19. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with murder. That Huang Daobubi was really shameless, even though he had given him face. Since this person was so shameless, there was no need for him to be courteous with Imperial Daobubi. He would just kill this person. Imperial Daobubi is from the reclusive Imperial Dao family. I've long said that there's nothing good about these reclusive families. Just look at Imperial Daobubi. There are so many enemies in the 9 prefectures, but this Imperial Daobubi not only doesn't care about the 9 prefectures, he even attacked Lin Feng. He doesn't know what's important. I really hope that Lin Gongzi can kill this person. These reclusive families and sects aren't all like Imperial Daobubi. There's still a need to distinguish between them. But this Imperial Daobubi is truly a bastard. He should be killed. The cultivators of the 9 prefectures began to discuss. Over the years, Lin Feng had killed countless experts from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other factions. Furthermore, the news of Lin Feng leading an army to slaughter the cultivator armies of the Tianwu continent had long spread to the 9 prefectures. Therefore, the The cultivators of the 9 prefectures admired Lin Feng to the extreme. Now that Lin Feng and Imperial Daobubi were fighting, everyone naturally supported Lin Feng. Meanwhile, the cultivators from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other foreign powers watched the battle with indifferent expressions. They couldn't wait for Lin Feng and Imperial Daobubi to end up injured. In the face of Imperial Daobubi's attack, Lin Feng used the demon ancestor's sacred fist. At this moment, Lin Feng was surrounded by boundless demonic qi. His body emitted a powerful demonic aura. In an instant, he transformed from a harmless and handsome young master into a peerless demon lord. Bam! Following that, Lin Feng and Imperial Daobubi collided. With the place where they collided as the center, the void began to distort. The battle prowess displayed by the two was too shocking. It could be described as shocking. The void shattered, and heaven and earth collapsed. The expressions of many cultivators watching the battle changed. Was this still a battle between the younger generation? This Lin Feng is truly terrifying. The expressions of the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other cultivators who saw Lin Feng in action for the first time turned solemn. They viewed Lin Feng as a great enemy. Now that he saw Lin Feng actually display such tyrannical combat strength, his mood was naturally not too good. This Huang Daobubi is also very powerful, but he doesn't care about the safety of the 9 regions at all. There were cultivators from the 9 provinces who sighed with regret and anger. Huang Daobubi could have become a hero of 9 regions like Lin Feng, protecting the safety of 9 regions and being admired and worshipped by countless people. However, Imperial Daobubi was very disappointing because he had taken a completely different path. Imperial 9 Revolution's divine art. After the collision, Imperial Daobubi displayed an even more powerful divine art. Just from the name of the Imperial 9 Revolution's divine art, one could tell that it was definitely a top-notch divine art passed down by the Imperial Dao family. Imperial Daobubi changed his hand seals repeatedly. Following that, an illusory figure appeared behind Imperial Daobubi. The illusory figure wore an imperial robe and looked like an ancient human emperor. His body emitted an aura that could suppress the heavens. After that mysterious figure appeared, a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth mysterious figures wearing imperial robes appeared one after another. They were so powerful that they were like undying rulers who had lived for hundreds of millions of years. Now, they looked coldly at Lin Feng. What kind of divine art is this? Is that an undying primordial spirit? It doesn't look like it. However, this divine art is indeed terrifying. Its aura is too powerful. Don't worry, Lin Feng won't lose because he also has endless techniques. Many cultivators of the 9 prefectures started discussing. The cultivators of the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces were also discussing the battle between the two of them. They all had cold expressions. Some of them were even thinking about what would happen after the battle between Lin Feng and Imperial Daobubi was over. If Lin Feng didn't die, would Imperial Daobubi kill Lin Feng? The power of the ancestors, bless my body. Immortal Imperial Dao, destroy all techniques. Imperial Daobubi roared. As if he had transformed into a demonic god, he quickly charged toward Lin Feng. 9 mysterious beings appeared behind him and instantly entered invincible Imperial Dao's body. The 9 figures seemed to have become a part of Imperial Daobubi's body. Terrifying auras spread out, shaking the void. They were so powerful that it made people turn pale with fright. Immortal Imperial Dao? How laughable. Today, I'll beat you until your soul disperses. Lin Feng sneered. He was a powerful figure. Now that he had stepped into the quasi-emperor realm and had gone into seclusion not long ago, his cultivation had improved greatly. Lin Feng was naturally extremely confident in himself. He rushed forward and displayed the divine ability, blooming flowers with a thought, sovereign descent. This was a supreme divine ability that the mysterious demon lord had spent his entire life creating. It was so powerful that it could shatter the heavenly Dao. When this divine ability was unleashed, Yizichen's eyes lit up. Everyone felt that Lin Feng had changed. He seemed to have transformed into the monarch of heaven and earth. Countless people had the urge to worship Lin Feng. Thump, thump. Some cultivators with weaker cultivations couldn't withstand the powerful pressure emitted from Lin Feng's body. Then, they knelt in front of Lin Feng and kowtowed to Lin Feng. The cultivators of the 9 prefectures didn't feel that this was a humiliation. The stronger Lin Feng was, the happier they would be. However, to the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and cultivators from other forces, they couldn't accept kneeling to Lin Feng. However, countless people couldn't control their own bodies. This was a kind of pressure on the level of life. What kind of divine ability is this? How can it be so terrifying? Kill, kill, kill. Lin Feng must die. Otherwise, he will become a great enemy. Many myriad races, extraterritorial races, and cultivators from other forces looked at Lin Feng with dense killing intent. They couldn't wait to tear Lin Feng into pieces. He's too powerful. He's really too powerful. If Lin Feng continues to grow, he will definitely rule the world in the future. The cultivators of the 9 prefectures were all excited. Bang! At this moment, Lin Feng and Huang Daobubi clashed again. Lin Feng was like a supreme monarch that ruled the world. He directly broke Huang Daobubi's divine ability. Huang Daobubi was sent flying by Lin Feng. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood in midair. Is this your so-called immortal Emperor Dao? How weak! Chapter 30-20 Endless Sea of Stars. Seeing Lin Feng coming for him, invincible Huang Dao made his move. He waved his hand, and a sea of stars appeared in front of him. This sea of stars separated him from Lin Feng. Although invincible Huang Dao was temporarily suppressed by Lin Feng, he still had extremely heaven-defying techniques, just like the one he was using now. Lin Feng was blocked by the sea of stars, so his attack couldn't hit invincible Huang Dao. Invincible Huang Dao quickly retreated, putting some distance between him and Lin Feng. Good. Very good. You actually managed to hurt me. Today, I'm going to tear you into pieces. Invincible Huang Dao looked at Lin Feng with hatred, his eyes flashing with killing intent. He couldn't wait to cut Lin Feng into pieces. It seems like you won't be able to threaten me with your techniques. Lin Feng glanced at invincible Huang Dao indifferently, his voice even more casual. This made invincible Huang Dao extremely angry, and his killing intent soared. Invincible Huang Dao felt that Lin Feng was full of disdain and contempt for him. This was absolutely unacceptable to the proud invincible Imperial Dao Emperor. I've never used this technique after successfully cultivating it. Today, I'll use it to kill you. Invincible Huang Dao's eyes flashed with killing intent. Then, his lips moved, as if he was chanting an incantation. At the same time, invincible Huang Dao's hands kept changing. Invincible Huang Dao's incantation and incantation were used together. Obviously, this was an extraordinary divine ability. However, no one knew what kind of divine ability it was. They would have to wait until invincible Huang Dao used this divine ability to find out. Lin Feng didn't want to give invincible Huang Dao a chance to use this divine ability, so he quickly flew towards invincible Huang Dao. However, it was already too late. Invincible Huang Dao laughed sinisterly. Lin Feng, it's useless. You can't stop me in time. Now, prepare to die. As soon as he finished speaking, Huang Daobubi couldn't help but shout, Universe Reversal. Boom. Then, a terrifying aura surged out of invincible Huang Dao's body. Everyone suddenly felt as if the sky and earth were spinning. This universe reversal had an extremely terrifying power. Not only could it cause physical damage, but it could also cause great damage to the mind. Some of the cultivators who were closer to invincible Huang Dao screamed. They felt like their souls were about to be torn apart, and invincible Huang Dao, but their bodies. Invincible Huang Dao, and invincible Huang Dao, they were invincible. Of them, the magic power in their bodies started to circulate in reverse along their meridians. Reversing the flow of magic power in one's body was an extremely dangerous thing. It was very easy to go berserk. Then, his body exploded, and he died on the spot. This was because every cultivation technique had a special circulation path of magic power. Once it was reversed, the magic power would clash. It would result in self-destruction. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, a series of violent explosions were heard. One cultivator after another exploded. Their bodies and souls were destroyed on the spot. Their deaths were extremely tragic. Those cultivators were affected by the universe reversal. First, their souls were damaged. Then, their invincible Huangdao flowed uncontrollably in their meridians. In the end, their invincible Huangdao became chaotic and uncontrollable. Their bodies self-destructed, and they ended up dead. Invincible Huangdao was indeed powerful. This universe reversal was extremely strange. The surrounding cultivators weren't affected too much. This was because this universe reversal was mainly targeted at Lin Feng. The dead cultivators were only affected by the aftershock of the divine ability. But the aftermath of the universe reversal was already so terrifying. From this, it could be seen that Lin Feng was enduring a terrifying attack. Facing the universe reversal, Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He activated Lu Ye's stargazing chart and instantly dispelled the effect of the universe reversal on his soul. Then, Lin Feng activated his Qi aura. 3 layers of Qi aura formed a magnetic field that protected his body. The universe reversal was blocked by Lin Feng's Qi aura. It couldn't do any damage to Lin Feng. Lin Feng quickly charged at invincible Huangdao and threw a punch at him. How is this possible? How can you not be affected? Invincible Huangdao shouted in disbelief when he saw Lin Feng charging at him. His universe reversal was an indiscriminate attack. In other words, no matter who it was, as long as they were enveloped by the universe reversal, they would be affected by the universe reversal. However, Lin Feng wasn't affected at all. Therefore, this scene was completely unexpected. Lin Feng said indifferently, "You dare to embarrass yourself with such a petty trick? How foolish. Are you ready to die?" Invincible Huangdao saw that his ultimate move, universe reversal, couldn't do anything to Lin Feng. He gave up on the idea of continuing the battle with Lin Feng. He turned around and fled into the distance. Invincible Huangdao didn't want to flee. He wanted to kill Lin Feng. However, he had no choice but to flee. Invincible Huangdao viewed this as a great humiliation, and it drove him mad with hatred. However, Invincible Huangdao persuaded himself to stay calm. He only wanted to escape. Only when his cultivation base increased would he have a chance to avenge himself. "You can't escape," Lin Feng said indifferently. His speed was so fast that he caught up to Invincible Huangdao in an instant. Then, his magnetic field enveloped Invincible Huangdao. Lin Feng's magnetic field had a great suppressive effect on a cultivator's magic power. After being enveloped by the magnetic field, Invincible Huangdao's combat power dropped by 50%. Now, his combat power was greatly reduced. Lin Feng, on the other hand, was strengthened by the magnetic field, which greatly increased his combat power. As a result, Invincible Huangdao was no match for Lin Feng. Lin Feng was like an unparalleled demon god as he threw punch after punch at Invincible Huangdao. Bang! Bang! Invincible Huangdao fought Lin Feng head-on, but he wasn't a match for Lin Feng at all. The sound of bones cracking could be heard. He didn't know how many bones had been broken by Lin Feng. "I'm from a reclusive family. If you dare to kill me, the Huangdao family won't let you off," Invincible Huangdao yelled. Now that he mentioned the Huangdao family, he wanted to use their reputation to intimidate Lin Feng. "So what if you're from the Huangdao family? Do you really think I'm afraid of your family?" Lin Feng's expression was indifferent, and his eyes flickered with killing intent. He used the 72 transformations to simulate the universe reversal. Invincible Huangdao's magic power started to reverse uncontrollably. Bang! Then, his body exploded and turned into a cloud of blood mist. His soul was also destroyed in the explosion. Invincible Huangdao. Chapter 3021. Huangdao Bubi is dead. A prodigy of a generation has fallen. Who is the peak at the end of the immortal road? The ancient road is filled with bones. Yes, the struggle on the immortal road is destined to be a bloody road. Who knows how many people have been buried along the way? Among the younger generation, there aren't many people who can defeat Lin Feng. Many people sighed. They were shocked when they saw Lin Feng kill Huangdao Bubi. Even Huangdao Bubi, who had such a powerful cultivation, died in Lin Feng's hands. They really didn't know how powerful Lin Feng was. It was shocking. This Lin Feng is indeed much stronger than we imagined, Shang Yuanfa said. He hadn't cultivated for a long time, but because he had two bloodlines, his battle strength was abnormally heaven-defying. Previously, he had been schemed against by Lu Tong and the others, but Shang Yuanfa was too powerful and managed to escape. Gong Xingye, Xing Yuqin, Yuling Xin, Fairy Yao Ji, and the others all looked at Lin Feng. Fairy Yao Ji said, "This person is indeed terrifying. It's not easy to kill such a person." Lin Feng took Huang Daobubi's storage ring and left the place. This was a place of trouble. It wasn't suitable for him to continue staying here. Moreover, Lin Feng didn't want to fight with the great emperors of the Huang Dao family for the time being. Although his strength had increased greatly, Lin Feng was clear about his battle strength. When facing those great emperors, it was best to avoid them. There was no need to fight with them. Those cultivators who wanted to attack Lin Feng saw that Lin Feng didn't seem to be exhausted, so they gave up their previous plan. Lin Feng's battle strength was too strong. They didn't want to take the risk. After leaving the area, Lin Feng found a relatively quiet place. He circulated the immemorial dragon-esque elephant art and recovered his magic power. Then, he took out Huang Daobubi's storage ring. Lin Feng's divine thought entered Huang Daobubi's storage ring and carefully checked it. He didn't find anything particularly valuable in Huang Daobubi's storage ring. Because Lin Feng had many treasures, even emperor weapons, immortal stones, and other treasures couldn't excite him. Then, Lin Feng put away Huang Daobubi's storage ring. He continued to wait for the arrival of the ancestor of the Geomaster lineage. Su Qianzong appeared again. This time, Su Qianzong brought new news. 3 days later, the old ancestor of the Geomaster lineage would appear. When the old ancestor of the Geomaster lineage appeared, he would enter the immortal gazing ridge to investigate. Of where? With? Everyone was looking forward to finding out the secrets of that world. Everyone believed that it wouldn't be long before the secrets of that world would be revealed to the world. Su Qianzong didn't leave after arriving. He had heard about the battle between Lin Feng and Huang Daobubi. Then, he said indifferently, "I know this kid. He's the successor of the Heavenly Master lineage." What? Lin Feng is the successor of the Heavenly Master lineage? Many people were shocked when they heard the news. The Heavenly Master lineage, which had disappeared for a long time, had created many glorious deeds in the past. The Geomaster lineage was so powerful, but it wasn't on the same level as the Heavenly Master lineage. If one could grasp the complete Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage, especially the rumored stone scripture, one would be able to ascend to the heavens. He would be able to travel between the 9 heavens and the Yellow Springs. He would be able to travel between the Yin and Yang realms. He would be able to communicate with immortals and observe Yin and Yang. There were too many rumors about the Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage. If the Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage really appeared, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. But now, Su Qianzong had actually announced that Lin Feng was the successor of the Heavenly Master lineage. In the past, the Geomaster lineage didn't do this because they wanted to kill Lin Feng and take the Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage from Lin Feng. But now, perhaps because the Geomaster lineage felt that Lin Feng was becoming more and more of a threat, Su Qianzong announced this matter. The Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage that Lin Feng possessed was enough to make countless people go crazy. When the time came, many people would definitely make a move against Lin Feng. The Geomaster lineage wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife. No wonder Lin Feng was able to rise so quickly. The Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage played a crucial role. There are great opportunities in many dangerous places. Since Lin Feng has the Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage, he can find all kinds of opportunities in these dangerous places. That's why he rose to prominence. If we can kill this person, won't we be able to obtain the Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage? Su Qianzong said that Lin Feng has the Tao legacy of the Heavenly Master lineage at this time. It's obvious that he wants to borrow the hands of the myriad races, the foreign races, or the cultivators of the other great worlds to deal with Lin Feng. Because the grudge between the Geomaster lineage and the Heavenly Master lineage is deep-rooted and will not rest until one of them is dead, They now feel that Lin Feng is a great threat and is gradually getting out of their control, so they want to kill him with a borrowed knife. Even if they want to kill him with a borrowed knife. However, this Lin Feng does indeed possess the inheritance of the heavenly master lineage. If we can obtain it, we will benefit endlessly. Moreover, this Lin Feng also possesses many powerful divine abilities, magic treasures, and endless wealth. Killing him is no less than obtaining many heaven-defying opportunities. Now, the myriad races, the foreign races, and the cultivators of other foreign forces were all talking about Lin Feng. Because of Su Qianzong's words, Lin Feng once again became the focus of everyone's discussion. Among them, there were even some great emperors who wanted to kill Lin Feng. Of course, those great emperors would not openly attack Lin Feng because they were afraid. Previously, the human race's old emperor had warned the myriad races, the foreign races, and the great emperors of other foreign forces. These great emperors had to be cautious. Lin Feng heard the news outside. His expression was indifferent. The Geomaster lineage could no longer sit still and wanted to deal with him. Lin Feng was not afraid of anyone. When the time came, he would kill as many as they came. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. On this day, the ancestor of the Geomaster lineage finally arrived. This was an old man wearing a loose Taoist robe. He was hale and hearty, and his beard was already white. He held a horsetail whisk in his hand and looked like an immortal. The ancestor of the Geomaster lineage is called Su Tianqing. His name is derived from the saying, Tianqing is strong and unremitting. It is said that he changed his name to Tianqing himself. This person's ambition is high, so he chose to come into being at this time. He obviously wants to use the opportunity produced by the great changes in the world to prove his Tao and become an immortal. Chapter 30:22. When the heavens move, a gentleman strives for self-improvement. When the earth moves, a gentleman strives to carry things with great virtue. This was a sentence recorded in the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching was the Bible of Taoism. One had to know that the Tao of all worlds originated from Taoism. There was even a saying that the origin of Buddhism came from Taoism. Therefore, there was the saying that Buddhism was Tao. Su Tianqing's name was derived from the Tao Te Ching. This person was indeed a very ambitious person. The great emperors of the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces also appeared after Su Tianqing appeared. For example, Shun Qi of the ancient God clan and Shan Yueya, the great emperor of the Heaven Devil clan, Heaven Devil Saint, the great emperor of the sacred God clan, Shang Daoxuan, and the others. In addition, the great emperors of the Star Moon clan, Si Kongxian and Nailan Yi, the experts of the Blood Moon clan, Shui Wumian, and the others. These great emperors were all great emperors of the extraterritorial races. The great emperor of the Nine Mysteries Great World, Wu Mozi, the great emperor of the universe Great World, Li Daokuan, and the others also arrived. The great emperors of the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces added up to more than 20 people. It was really shocking that so many great emperors had appeared at once. Lin Feng stood in the distance and did not appear. So many great emperors had gathered here. These people would probably join forces to explore that dark world together with Su Tianqing. This force was simply too powerful. Each great emperor was incomparably powerful, and the aura emitted from their bodies could suppress the heavens. They could feel the powerful aura emitted by those great emperors. Everyone's faces were filled with shock. With so many great emperors joining forces, they could sweep through everything. They were like more than 20 rulers standing between heaven and earth, making people involuntarily want to kneel on the ground and worship them. These great emperors greeted Su Tianqing one after another. Su Tianqing's identity was very special, so everyone was extremely polite to him. Su Tianqing had a refreshing smile on his face. He was usually extremely dignified and not easy to get close to. However, in the face of the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces, he had a smile on his face. Seeing Su Tianqing's face, many cultivators of the 9 provinces couldn't help but feel disgusted. We'll take action tonight. When the time comes, I'll go in with all of you to explore. Su Tianqing said. All right, please lead the way, fellow Taoist Su. The great emperors said politely. Many people might be stronger than Su Tianqing, but they were still extremely polite to him. This was because Su Tianqing had mastered many secret techniques. It could take them through the deadly immortal gazing ridge and the dark world. The group of great emperors left. It's finally time to act. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. He was waiting for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After these people entered, he followed their footsteps and entered as well. There were so many of them gathered together. Although they were strong enough, they were still too big of a target. If there was any danger, this group of people would be able to draw attention away. When night fell, Su Tianqing and the 27 great emperors entered Immortal Gazing Ridge together. They went in. Many people were watching from afar, their eyes twitching violently. Many cultivators wanted to enter and explore, but their cultivation was not strong enough. They were hesitating whether they should take the risk and enter. Lin Feng took out the mysterious iron box and carried it on his back. There were strange and terrifying creatures in the deadly Immortal Gazing Ridge, which was enough to cause fatal damage to cultivators who entered the deadly Immortal Gazing Ridge. However, Lin Feng's mysterious iron box could scare away those creatures. This was something that Lin Feng discovered by accident. Now, he could use the power of the mysterious iron box to scare away the terrifying creatures in Immortal Gazing Ridge. This way, he wouldn't suffer a calamity. In addition, Lin Feng's celestial master path's inheritance was extraordinary, so he could avoid all kinds of deadly formations and terrifying restrictions. As long as he was careful, there wouldn't be any major problems in Immortal Gazing Ridge. The key was the dark world. That place was the place that made him extremely fearful. That dream that was so realistic. That young girl who was as beautiful as heaven and earth. It was a clear and melodious call. And the strange things that happened that night, the mysterious crying sounds. All of this made Lin Feng feel very uneasy. Lin Feng entered Immortal Gazing Ridge, and a cold and terrifying aura swept over, making him feel as if he was walking step by step into hell. Not long after, Lin Feng felt a few terrifying auras coming from outside. He hid. Then, he saw a few figures flying in from outside. Great emperors. Lin Feng was shocked. They were great emperors, but he didn't know their identities. Now, they had joined forces to enter Immortal Gazing Ridge. They obviously had the same idea as Lin Feng. After Su Tianqing and the others entered the dark world and attracted the attention of the unknown existence, they entered. This way, the danger level would be much lower. Lin Feng saw the figure of Tian Fa Demon Venerable, who was an expert of the Huangdao family. They are from the reclusive family. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Of course, there might be experts from the reclusive sects among this group of people, but it was hard to say. Now that so many experts had joined forces to explore the dark world, they might really be able to reap extraordinary rewards. Lin Feng had heard that the reclusive families and sects had already explored the dark world and brought out some things. But what exactly they brought out, Lin Feng didn't know. Tian Fa Demon Venerable and the others quickly flew into the depths. Not long after, violent fluctuations came from the depths. Tian Fa Demon Venerable and the others were fighting with the terrifying creatures in the land of extremists. The origins of the creatures hidden in the land of extremists were extremely mysterious, but they were also extremely terrifying. Even if they were great emperors, those creatures weren't afraid at all. The battle was extremely intense, and it lasted for more than 2 hours before it stopped. What's the result of the battle? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. The fluctuations in the depths had disappeared, and he didn't know the final result of the battle. In the end, Lin Feng continued to walk into the depths. The land of extremists was very terrifying at night, because the creatures in the land of extremists liked to appear at this time. Although Lin Feng hadn't been attacked by the creatures in the land of extremists, he felt a cold aura enveloping him several times. That gloomy and cold aura made his hair stand on end. Ordinary creatures in the land of extremists don't dare to approach me because of the mysterious iron box, but some extremely powerful creatures might not be afraid of the mysterious iron box. Lin Feng's expression turned serious. He felt that he was being targeted by an extremely powerful creature in the land of extremists. Therefore, Lin Feng increased his speed, wanting to enter the dark world as soon as possible. Chapter 30:23. The restrictions in the immortal gazing ridge were very powerful and terrifying. The slightest carelessness could cause one to be killed by these restrictions. However, it was very difficult for the restrictions in the immortal gazing ridge to hurt Lin Feng. Because he was proficient in this Tao, even if he could not break the restrictions in the immortal gazing ridge, it was not difficult for him to successfully avoid the restrictions here. The truly terrifying thing in the immortal gazing ridge was the danger zone creatures. Those unknown and terrifying creatures possessed battle prowess that made one pale with fright. When those terrifying creatures attacked, it would be a disastrous thing. Those danger zone creatures even dared to besiege a group of great Emperor Realm powerhouses. From this, one could see how tyrannical those danger zone creatures were. Although Lin Feng did not see any danger zone creatures staring at him, Lin Feng felt the other party's aura. It was an aura that was almost undetectable, but Lin Feng had always been extremely confident in his divine sense. Sometimes, a faint sense of oppression would arise in his heart. It would always arouse his vigilance. And now, it was not as simple as a sense of oppression. Now, Lin Feng felt a gloomy and cold aura enveloping his whole body. He was definitely being targeted by the danger zone creatures. Otherwise, he would not have such a feeling. Lin Feng came to the place where the danger zone creatures fought with Tian Fa Demon Venerable and others. It was a mess. Blood dyed the ground red, but he did not know whether it was Emperor blood or the blood of those danger zone creatures. Before this, Lin Feng had not dared to get too close to this place, because he was worried that he would be involved, which would be an extremely terrifying thing. He might even lose his life because of it. After coming here, the gloomy and cold aura became more and more obvious. Lin Feng felt that the danger zone creatures staring at him were quickly approaching him. I don't know what it is. Lin Feng could not help but frown. He sped up again, but at this time, Lin Feng was shocked to find that darkness shrouded him. The light in all directions disappeared in an instant. It's coming. Lin Feng was horrified. An unknown dangerous creature had arrived, and it wasn't afraid of the mysterious iron box he was carrying on his back. What was happening in front of him was too terrifying, and he couldn't help but feel suffocated. Lin Feng hurriedly took down the mysterious iron box and started to crack the restrictions on the mysterious iron box. After the mysterious iron box was opened, the dismembered corpses would be revealed, and they would be able to erupt with a terrifying pressure. Because the identity of the dismembered corpse was too extraordinary. Even Lin Feng didn't know the identity of the dismembered corpse. However, dismembered corpses could play an important role in critical moments. The darkness quickly surged, and Lin Feng was about to be submerged in it. Lin Feng felt his hands and feet turn cold and stiff. He almost couldn't control his body. The danger zone creatures in the darkness were too tyrannical. He didn't know what level they were at. Fortunately, at this time, Lin Feng successfully opened the mysterious iron box. The moment the mysterious iron box was opened, a wave of destructive energy gushed out from the mysterious iron box. Lin Feng was sent flying. Screech. The existence in the darkness let out a sharp and ear-piercing cry. That existence seemed to recognize the origin of the dismembered corpse in the mysterious iron box and was completely shocked. That mysterious existence quickly left, and the darkness quickly dissipated. The mysterious iron box was very strange. It had an extremely strong pressure and deterrence to these creatures in the danger zone. Lin Feng didn't know why it had such a strong deterrence and pressure. He previously guessed that the dismembered corpse in the mysterious iron box was the supreme existence in the danger zone when it was alive. Therefore, even though it was only a dismembered corpse now, it still had an unbearable pressure to these terrifying creatures in the danger zone. Of course, this was only Lin Feng's guess. Lin Feng didn't know if the dismembered corpse was really the supreme existence in the danger zone when it was alive. He hurriedly got up from the ground, and then rushed to the iron box and sealed it once again. At this moment, Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief. With the increase of his cultivation, Lin Feng was still injured when he opened the iron box, but his injuries weren't as serious as before. He activated his immortal divine body and healed his injuries. Then, Lin Feng carried the iron box on his back and continued to walk towards the depths. 2 hours later, he finally saw the world of darkness. It was a distorted world, and it was as black as ink. That world was like the world of the dead, and gusts of chilly wind blew out from that world of darkness. When he arrived here, the ancient devil ring flew out of its own accord, and then flew towards the world of darkness. Lin Feng grabbed the ancient devil ring, and then entered the world of darkness with it. He had already intertwined with the ancient devil ring countless times. It was difficult to separate them anymore. Lin Feng felt that perhaps only by uncovering the secrets of the ancient devil ring could he find out. Only then would he be able to escape from those unknown and terrifying dangers. The world of darkness was very dark. The ancient devil ring vibrated with a special power, and it entered Lin Feng's body. It seemed to be guiding Lin Feng where to go. Woo-woo! The sobbing sound that had disappeared for a long time resounded once again. This was the sobbing sound of a woman, but it was so mournful. What did she go through in the past to let out such a mournful sob? Lin Feng's mood became even more solemn. This world of darkness was indeed very strange. Suddenly, the surrounding black fog started to churn. Within the black fog, the sound of chewing could be heard. The sound came from afar, and it was so clear that Lin Feng's body couldn't help but tremble. What is this sound? Lin Feng's expression was very solemn. Not long after, he saw a black shadow squatting on the ground, and it seemed to be chewing on something. Lin Feng was shocked. What was that black shadow? He got closer, and finally saw clearly what that black shadow was chewing on. It was actually a dead great emperor. Previously, Lin Feng saw the heaven punishment demon Venerable and the others enter this place. The dead cultivator was one of them. This was a great emperor-level expert from a reclusive family or sect. Now, he had fallen and become food for this black shadow. The black shadow moved towards Lin Feng's location. Lin Feng couldn't see the black shadow's appearance. He only saw a pair of pale green eyes. And those eyes, they were staring at Lin Feng. Whoosh! Lin Feng was terrified. He didn't dare to stay, and he quickly flew into the distance. The terrifying black shadow didn't chase after him, and he let out a long sigh of relief. But not long after, something even more terrifying happened. A sinister wind whistled. Lin Feng could faintly smell the scent of blood in the wind. In the distance, a blood-red demonic cloud flew over quickly. Chapter 30-24. The fluctuations emitted from the blood-colored demonic cloud were extremely terrifying, shocking, and moving people. When he saw the blood-colored demonic cloud flying towards him, Lin Feng's face turned serious. He chose to fly in another direction to avoid the blood-colored demonic cloud. However, the blood-colored demonic cloud was extremely demonic. It quickly chased after him, and then a huge vortex appeared in the blood-colored demonic cloud. The huge vortex emitted a tyrannical devouring power that enveloped Lin Feng. It actually wanted to devour Lin Feng. What a strange blood-colored demonic cloud. Lin Feng looked at the blood-colored demonic cloud in shock. The blood-colored demonic cloud that appeared in front of him was really strange. In the face of the blood-colored demonic cloud's attack, Lin Feng took out the black flame bow and continuously shot a dozen arrows at the blood-colored demonic cloud. The arrows could shatter the void and shatter the universe. The power was so strong that it was shocking. The energy arrows instantly flew into the blood-colored demonic cloud. Then, they exploded. However, they were unable to cause any damage to the blood-colored demonic cloud. The blood-colored demonic cloud was really terrifying. It seemed to be able to devour any attack. After Lin Feng's body was enveloped by the blood-colored demonic cloud, he was flying towards it bit by bit. At this time, the energy arrows shot by the black flame bow were unable to harm the blood-colored demonic cloud. This made Lin Feng feel very troubled. This time, he might really be in trouble. The blood-colored demonic cloud was so strange and terrifying. If he was really devoured by the blood-colored demonic cloud, what would happen? Lin Feng then took out the stone sword, the 5-dragon wheel, and the sky drum to deal with the blood-colored demonic cloud. However, it was useless. The blood-colored demonic cloud was terrifying because it could ignore all kinds of attacks. This was really too shocking. However, others couldn't ignore the blood-colored demonic cloud's attacks. Therefore, Lin Feng was in trouble now. After collecting these magic treasures, Lin Feng tried to break out of the encirclement. However, several attempts ended in failure. The blood-colored demonic cloud was really strange. It was as if it had its own thoughts. It was just a demonic cloud. Could it have developed its own consciousness? This made Lin Feng feel very puzzled. The blood-red demonic cloud's devouring power grew stronger and stronger. Just as Lin Feng was about to be devoured by the blood-red demonic cloud, at this critical juncture, the ancient devil ring, which had been quiet all this time, suddenly emitted a powerful demonic light. The demonic light wrapped around Lin Feng. Mo Guang was really extraordinary. He directly broke through the shroud of the blood-red demon clouds, and then turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed into the distance. The blood-red cloud was not willing to let Lin Feng get away just like that, so it chased after him. But in the end, the blood-red cloud failed to catch up to Lin Feng. 2 hours later, the demonic light dissipated, and Lin Feng landed in an ancient forest. The world of darkness was emitting a cold and terrifying aura. Lin Feng looked around cautiously. This place was too terrifying. He had to be cautious at all times. Otherwise, it was very likely that he would die. That blood-red demonic cloud reminded me of a legendary item. The Demon Lord said. What item? Lin Feng asked curiously. The Demon Lord said, according to the legends, the great sage, Heaven's equal can fly 108,000 li with a single somersault. This is not a rumor. It is said to be true. I've heard of that rumor before, but it sounds a little too unbelievable. 108,000 li? How far is that? Doesn't that mean one can reach outer space from the 9 provinces with a single somersault? Lin Feng said. The Demon Lord nodded and said, Indeed. It is said that the great sage, Heaven's equal speed, is related to a treasure he has. This treasure is called the somersault cloud. It is said that the somersault cloud is a demonic cloud that can greatly increase a cultivator's speed. It was later subdued by the great sage, Heaven's equal, and became one of his most powerful treasures. Lin Feng was shocked. This was the first time he had heard of such a thing. This matter did sound a little inconceivable. Lin Feng had always thought that the somersault cloud was a powerful ability. Who would have thought that the somersault cloud mentioned by the Demon Lord was actually a demonic cloud that the great sage, Heaven's equal, had refined? Are you saying that if I can refine that blood-red demonic cloud, my speed will be as shocking as the great sage, Heaven's equals? Lin Feng asked. The Demon Lord said, even if you can't reach the great sage, Heaven's equals speed, it should be close. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, that blood-red demonic cloud is too powerful. It is impossible to refine it. The Demon Lord did not say anything else. Lin Feng had no intention of refining the blood-red demonic cloud. Even if a great emperor came, they would probably die if they encountered the cloud. If not for the ancient devil ring, it would not have been easy for him to escape from the blood-red demonic cloud's attack. Lin Feng knew this very well. It was because he knew how powerful and terrifying the blood-red demonic cloud was that Lin Feng knew that it was impossible to refine it. Woo, woo! The sound of crying rang in his ears, becoming clearer and clearer. Ever since Lin Feng entered the world of darkness, this sound had not stopped. Brother Fan, hurry up and come over. Suddenly, the sound of crying disappeared. It was replaced by the pleasant voice of the girl in the dream. When Lin Feng heard this voice, all the hairs on his body stood on end. Why did the voice in the dream appear in reality? Could it be that the owner of the crying voice was that girl? Who was the brother Fan that the girl was talking about? Lin Feng remembered everything that had happened in the dream. The girl had called him Brother Fan, but he was not this so-called Brother Fan. Now, the girl's voice rang out again, and this time, she called him Brother Fan. Lin Feng's heart was filled with too many doubts. Brother Fan, Uxian is waiting for you here. Hurry up and find Uxian. The girl's voice continued to ring in Lin Feng's mind. Then, a roadmap appeared in Lin Feng's mind. The roadmap seemed to lead to the girl's location. Lin Feng's expression was uncertain. In the end, He gritted his teeth and quickly followed the road map in his mind. Since he was already in the world of darkness, no matter what happened, he had to face it. He did not choose to run away. Chapter 30:25. Roar. A deep roar came from the front. A gigantic creature stood up in the darkness. When Lin Feng saw that gigantic creature, he couldn't help but be astonished. It was a 9-headed fiendish python. According to the classic of mountains and seas, the 9-headed fiendish python had the body of a dragon, the head of a snake, and a pair of wings. It guarded the edge of the underworld water. What kind of place was Ming Shui referring to? The underworld water was a terrifying place in the underworld called the Underworld Lake. It was said that the Underworld Lake was the place where countless evil spirits were buried. Furthermore, evil spirits that could be buried in lake Styx were definitely abnormally terrifying existences. The 9-headed fiendish python was guarding the Underworld Lake. It was obvious how powerful the 9-headed fiendish python was. Such a powerful creature had appeared in the world of darkness. The 9-headed fiendish python stopped a group of cultivators. The group of cultivators was none other than Su Tianqing and the great emperors from the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces. When these great emperors gathered together, their combat strength was terrifying. Although they had fought a few battles along the way, they had the advantage in numbers. Hence, they had won all the battles. Now, they had encountered another creature from the world of darkness. It was the 9-headed fiendish python in front of them. A mere beast dares to stop us? Its venomous fangs are not bad. They can be made into a powerful magic weapon. One of the great emperors sneered. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The other great emperors sneered as well. They wanted to kill the 9-headed fiendish python. Lin Feng looked over from afar. He raised his eyebrows slightly. This group of people was too terrifying. No wonder the great emperor was so confident. The 9-headed fiendish python is going to be killed, right? Lin Feng muttered to himself. He felt that the 9-headed fiendish python was likely to be killed. Although the 9-headed fiendish python was powerful, it could not deal with a group of great emperors. Moreover, there were some high-level great emperors among them. Their combat strength was heaven-defying. Rumble. Just as the great emperors were about to kill the 9-headed fiendish python, suddenly, the ground shook violently. Then, cracking sounds could be heard. The earth split open, and dense cracks appeared. Roar, roar, roar. A series of deep roars came from the cracked abyss. Immediately afterward, a series of gigantic skeletal creatures crawled out. There were a total of 13 skeletal creatures, and each of them emitted a suffocating pressure. They're all emperor-level skeletons. After seeing the skeletons, Lin Feng was shocked. They were all great emperor-level skeletons. It was too shocking. Those skeletal creatures were clearly transformed from experts who had died. They were now a type of undead. Lin Feng guessed that the skeletons had already developed a new consciousness. Every skeletal being was surrounded by a layer of death energy. Their eyes were ghastly pale. It was different from the green willow, the wisps in the eyes of ordinary undead creatures. The flames in their eyes. They were pale white flames. As for why the willow, the wisps were of such a color, Lin Feng had no idea. After the skeletons appeared, a sharp, ear-piercing cry came from afar. Huge beasts flew over. They were 7 pitch-black skeletal dragons. Each of the skeletal dragons emitted a terrifying aura. These skeletal dragons' auras were vaguely stronger than those of the skeletons. Heavens, these skeletal dragons are all at least great emperor level. How can there be so many powerful undead creatures in this place? Could it be that many experts were buried here in the past? Lin Feng looked grave and solemn because he had the feeling that the situation wasn't simple. Although these undead creatures were very powerful now, they weren't truly powerful now. They were powerful when they were alive. How terrifying were they when they were alive? After they died, they turned into undead creatures that could reach the great emperor level? It was just a simple thought. It was enough to make one's expression change. It's not good to fight with these undead creatures. Let's leave this place quickly, Su Tianqing said in a deep voice. The other great emperor's expressions turned grave. Previously, they only saw the nine-headed fiendish python and thought that it was acting alone. Therefore, they were confident that they could kill the nine-headed fiendish python. But who would have thought? There were so many terrifying undead creatures here. The group of great emperors planned to leave, but at that moment, the nine-headed fiendish python let out a sharp, ear-piercing cry. Then, the undead creatures, including the skeletons and the skeletal dragons, all launched a fierce attack on the great emperors. The nine-headed fiendish python also joined in the battle. It attacked the great emperors together with the undead creatures. Boom! Then, a terrifying battle broke out. Su Tianqing, the myriad races, the extraterritorial races, and the other great emperors fought the undead creatures led by the nine-headed fiendish python. The battle was extremely tragic. People were constantly injured. However, these great emperors were indeed powerful. Not only did they have boundless magic power and remarkable abilities, but they also had many powerful magic treasures. Therefore, they had the upper hand. Only people on their side were injured, but the undead creatures were constantly being killed. Their bodies were smashed into pieces. Their bones were scattered all over the ground. The rest of the undead creatures continued to attack the group of great emperors fearlessly. The group of great emperors looked gloomy. They did not plan to continue fighting because it was too dangerous. They might attract more undead creatures. Even if they killed the undead creatures, it would not be of any use to them. Therefore, these great emperors wanted to leave quickly. However, they were held back by the nine-headed fiendish python and the remaining undead creatures. At this moment, something strange happened. The undead creatures that were killed instantly reassembled their bodies and began to fight the great emperors at close range. The group of great emperors was not prepared at all. Some of the great emperors with fast reactions or extremely powerful great emperors dodged the attacks of the reassembled undead creatures. However, many great emperors did not dodge the attacks of the reassembled undead creatures. Poochie, Poochie, Poochie. Chapter 3026. They're actually undead creatures. Lin Feng looked at the undead creatures in shock. He'd heard Taoist Wu Liang talk about the different types of undead creatures. The highest level of undead creatures was the undead creatures. These undead creatures were immortal. Even if they were killed, they could be resurrected. However, undead creatures were extremely rare, even in the netherworld. These undead creatures were all undead creatures. Lin Feng was shocked. Because Taoist Wu Liang often excavated ancient tombs, he'd encountered undead creatures before. Every time they encountered an undead creature, they would suffer a lot, and they would have a narrow escape. These creatures couldn't be killed. If you slashed at them, they'd be fine. But what if you were slashed? That would be a serious problem. Undead creatures. They're undead creatures. Break through with all your might. Su Tianqing couldn't help but shout. The other great emperors' expressions changed. They were no longer as calm as before. The undead creatures were too terrifying. Even though they were all great emperors, they still found it difficult to deal with these undead creatures. The battle grew more and more intense. Many great emperors were seriously injured. A few more great emperors were killed one after another. In the end, Shang Daoshuan took out an immortal talisman. That immortal talisman was extremely precious. It repelled a group of undead creatures, allowing the remaining great emperors to break through. After the nine-headed fiendish python swallowed the great emperor's corpse, it led a group of undead creatures to chase after the great emperors. Soon, peace was restored. It was as if nothing had happened. However, Lin Feng couldn't calm down after witnessing what had happened. Those who died were all great emperors. Which one of them wasn't an overlord of the Starfield world? But now, they'd been killed just like that. They'd even become the nine-headed fiendish python's food. Everything that was happening before his eyes was simply too shocking. Great emperors weren't invincible. Even if they'd cultivated to the great emperor realm, they could still die at any time. However, the great emperors who had died before were all great emperors from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, or other great emperors from other factions. Therefore, Lin Feng was quite happy. These forces were all ambitious and had always wanted to occupy the 9 provinces and enslave the cultivators of the 9 provinces. The more they died, the better. Lin Feng quickly left this troublesome place and continued to head deeper. One day later, Lin Feng was attacked. A cultivator with only half his body left attacked Lin Feng, sending a palm strike towards Lin Feng. This was an injured myriad race great monarch, a cultivator from the silver goblin race. This cultivator had long silver hair and was very handsome. However, his face was now distorted. Originally, he was extremely powerful and his battle prowess was unparalleled. But now, he only had half of his body left, and his combat strength was probably not even 10% of his peak. If not for his profound cultivation base, he would have died long ago. Until now, he had been struggling at death's door. The heavens have not forsaken me. I want to possess another body and be reborn. This silver goblin race great monarch said eerily. He treated Lin Feng as his target for possession and rebirth. His blood was about to run dry. This person did not have the ability of Lin Feng's immortal divine body. If he delayed any longer, his physical body would be completely destroyed. Without the protection of his physical body, his soul would soon turn into ashes. Lin Feng's appearance had given him a ray of hope. Lin Feng's reaction was fast enough. He hurriedly took out the heavenly mystery pagoda to protect himself. Bang! At this moment, the silver goblin race great monarch's palm strike had already arrived. However, it was blocked by the energy shield released by the heavenly mystery pagoda. Lin Feng was sent flying by the palm strike. However, he did not suffer any injuries. If this silver goblin race great monarch was at his peak, Lin Feng would probably be injured even if he took out the heavenly mystery pagoda to protect himself. But now, the silver goblin race great monarch's combat strength had dropped too much due to his injuries. His blood was about to run dry, and the power of his bloodline could not be activated. He was basically an arrow at the end of its flight. What did Lin Feng have to fear? He's so badly injured. It seems like he was injured by those undead creatures. As a great monarch, you're high and mighty and look down on everything. Now that you've fallen to such a state, I wonder how you feel? Lin Feng could not help but look at the silver goblin race great monarch mockingly. Kid, you're about to die, yet you still dare to provoke this great monarch. You really don't know what's good for you. This great monarch has no time to chat with you. Quickly accept your death. The silver goblin race great monarch laughed sinisterly. Then, he leaped out and pounced towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered. You've lost all your blood. You're already half dead. How dare you boast in front of yours truly? You really don't know what's good for you. Today, yours truly will kill you and devour your origin and soul to increase my cultivation. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng took out the sky drum and the 2 stone swords. When he saw that the silver goblin race great monarch was injured, Lin Feng had the intention to kill him. A great monarch who had suffered such serious injuries would have his combat strength almost depleted. He was the best target to attack. Kill this person and refine his origin. His cultivation would increase tremendously. Moreover, Lin Feng believed that with his own means, it would not be a problem to kill this great monarch. Dong, dong, dong. Lin Feng struck the sky drum. Suddenly, an earth-shattering sound could be heard. The sky drum was terrifying. It could cause great damage to one's physical body and soul. Now that the silver goblin race great monarch was seriously injured, his willpower was at its weakest. Therefore, when he heard the sky drum, the silver goblin race great monarch's soul suffered great damage. Arg! The silver goblin race great monarch let out a blood-curdling scream. Good chance. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Then, he took out the 2 stone swords and attacked the silver goblin race great monarch. Who would have thought that the silver goblin race great monarch would reach out his hands and grab the 2 stone swords in his hands? At the sight of this, Lin Feng's face was filled with disbelief. The silver goblin race great monarch was injured to such an extent, and he could still grab onto his stone swords. Just how terrifying was this guy at his peak? Lin Feng quickly regained his senses and took out the 9 demons picture. The 9 demons picture flew in front of the silver goblin race great monarch at lightning speed and swept towards him. The silver goblin race great monarch opened his mouth and spat out a ball of energy. When the energy ball hit the nine demons' portrait, it sent it flying. The silver goblin race great monarch laughed and said, "Lowly ant, do you think that you can go against me just because I'm seriously injured? You're simply indulging in fantasy." As soon as he said that, the silver goblin race great monarch started chanting, "Mount Tai Crush." He roared, and a gigantic mountain descended from the sky. That gigantic mountain was the legendary supreme immortal mountain of the heaven realm. This immortal mountain was called Mount Tai. It was said that the masters of the 33 heavens would climb Mount Tai to offer sacrifices every year. After the immortal mountain was successfully formed, Chapter 3027. What a powerful superpower! After sensing the power of the celestial mountain, Lin Feng couldn't help but be astonished. The great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan was already injured to such an extent, yet he was still able to unleash such a powerful technique. This really shocked Lin Feng. As expected, none of the great emperors could be underestimated. Even a great emperor like the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan, who was about to die, couldn't be underestimated. Once he looked down on these people, he was afraid that only death would await him. The current situation was extremely dangerous because the superpower that the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan had unleashed was extremely powerful. However, it wasn't as if Lin Feng didn't have any way to deal with it. Facing the attack of the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan, Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer and say, "Although your superpower is strong, you're already at the end of your life. You still can't cause any harm to me." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng attacked and condensed an invincible punch. Then, he threw a punch at the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan. This punch was the supreme reincarnation punch that he had created himself. When this punch was activated, the superpower formations in Lin Feng's body revolved around the supreme reincarnation punch's superpower formation. Bam bam bam. Lin Feng threw punch after punch at the celestial mountain. Earth-shaking collision sounds could be heard. The supreme reincarnation punch displayed a heaven-defying fighting power. After 36 consecutive punches, cracking sounds could be heard. The celestial mountain that the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan had condensed shattered. Lin Feng rushed forward and threw another invincible punch. Bam! This punch once again landed on the celestial mountain that had already cracked open. In an instant, the celestial mountain shattered. How is this possible? The great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan cried out in disbelief. Although he was indeed at the end of his life, he was a great emperor after all. Even if he was a great emperor at the end of his life, wouldn't it be a piece of cake for him to deal with a boundary emperor? However, the real situation was completely different from what he had imagined. Lin Feng, a quasi-emperor realm cultivator, was actually able to neutralize his various attacks. This made the Silver Goblin race great emperor feel extremely incredulous. However, all of this was real. The Silver Goblin race's great emperor had no choice but to believe it. Nothing is impossible in this world. Lin Feng's expression was cold as he dashed towards the great emperor of the Silver Goblin race. That invincible punch of his was hurled towards the great emperor of the Silver Goblin race. The great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan threw the stone sword in his hand at Lin Feng. He then turned around and fled into the distance. Lin Feng dodged the stone sword that came slashing at him. Then, he put away the two stone swords, the sky drum, and the nine devils picture. Then, he quickly chased after the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan. Originally, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor was already on the verge of death. After the great battle, the Silver Goblin race great emperor's body was in an even worse state. He couldn't hold on any longer. This was the best time to kill the Silver Goblin race's great emperor. How could Lin Feng let him escape? "Who are you?" Seeing Lin Feng chasing after him, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor asked with a gloomy expression. "Lin Feng, what? You're that Lin Feng?" The Silver Goblin race's great emperor couldn't help but exclaim. He had already heard Lin Feng's name so many times. He had also heard that many geniuses of the myriad races had died in Lin Feng's hands. However, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor didn't pay too much attention to Lin Feng. After all, no matter how strong Lin Feng was, he was still just a young disciple. A lofty great emperor like him naturally wouldn't pay too much attention to the matters of a young cultivator. Moreover, there were so many top-notch geniuses of the myriad races. There was bound to be someone who could kill Lin Feng. Who would have thought? The person he met today was actually Lin Feng. It's the real deal, Lin Feng said indifferently as he continued to increase his speed. The Silver Goblin race's great emperor also increased his speed. He knew that there was no hope for him to take over Lin Feng's body. After all, Lin Feng was simply too strong. Right now, his priority was no longer to take over Lin Feng's body. Instead, he had to quickly avoid Lin Feng's pursuit. However, Lin Feng didn't give the Silver Goblin race's great emperor the chance to escape. In the end, he caught up to the Silver Goblin race's great emperor and sent a palm strike at him. Facing Lin Feng's terrifying palm strike, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor turned around and sent a palm strike at Lin Feng. However, at that moment, Lin Feng actually split into three and used the one chi into three pure ones technique. The three Lin Fengs surrounded the Silver Goblin race's great emperor. Then, the three Lin Fengs unleashed their domineering auras and unleashed their 9-layered magnetic field. When the 9-layered magnetic field descended, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's battle prowess was greatly reduced. If the Silver Goblin race's great emperor was at his peak, the 9-layered magnetic field might only be able to reduce his battle prowess by 10 to 20%. However, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor was already at the end of his rope. Therefore, he was greatly suppressed by Lin Feng's 9-layered magnetic field. Lin Feng's 9-layered magnetic field had reduced the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's battle prowess by 60 to 70%. Furthermore, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's speed had also greatly decreased. Mount Tai Crush. Lin Feng's original body used the 72 transformations to simulate the divine ability that the Silver Goblin race's great emperor had used. An immortal mountain descended from the sky and suppressed the Silver Goblin race's great emperor. As for the other two Lin Fengs, one of them used the Peerless Divine Ability, One Thought Flower Blooms, Sovereign's Descent. The other used the Mystic Turtle's Hunchback Tablet Divine Ability. As the immortal mountain pressed down, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor roared in disbelief. How is this possible? Is this my divine ability? You've actually grasped my divine ability? How did you do it? Go to hell and ask the King of Hell. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as the immortal mountain pressed down on the Silver Goblin race's great emperor. The Silver Goblin race's great emperor wanted to destroy the immortal mountain, but he failed in the end. At this moment, Lin Feng's two clones attacked. Bang! Bang! Two terrifying divine abilities bombarded the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's body. Shortly after, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's body exploded. The Silver Goblin race's great emperor died on the spot. In the end, only the origin energy and a storage ring were left floating in the air. Ha 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 ha. This is great. I wonder how high my cultivation level will rise after refining the Silver Goblin race's origin energy? Lin Feng could not help but exclaim excitedly. After collecting the Silver Goblin race's origin energy and storage ring then, he quickly left the place. Lin Feng found a secluded place and set up a concealment restriction before entering seclusion. The first thing Lin Feng did was to refine the soul origin energy contained within the origin energy. After refining the soul origin energy of the Silver Goblin race's great emperor, Lin Feng's soul power broke through 5 levels consecutively. It rose from the 40th level to the 45th level. Chapter 3028. Lin Feng was currently stuck at the level of a quasi-emperor who had reached the 15th step of the stone steps. Every time he made a breakthrough, it would be extremely difficult. Therefore, it would not be easy for Lin Feng to continue raising his cultivation level. However, now that he had obtained the great Tao source of the Silver Goblin race's great emperor, Lin Feng felt that his cultivation level would increase significantly. He was looking forward to it. As the great emperor of the Silver Goblin race's source of power was gradually refined, Lin Feng's cultivation level also began to rise. It did not take long for his cultivation level to rise to the next level. However, this kind of improvement was clearly far from over. When all the source of power was refined by Lin Feng, Lin Feng's cultivation level finally stopped at the level of a quasi-emperor who had reached the 18th step of the stone steps. This time, Lin Feng had raised his cultivation level by 3 levels consecutively. This made Lin Feng extremely happy. If he cultivated step by step, he did not know how long it would take to raise his cultivation level by 3 levels. This great emperor of the silver goblin race's injuries are too severe. Only half of his body is left, and his blood is about to run dry. He does not have much source of power left, probably not even 1/10 of his peak. However, this guy's source of power is really powerful. With such a small amount of source of power, I can raise my cultivation level by 3 levels. If I were to refine all of his source of power, how many levels would I raise? Lin Feng could not help but ponder. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that it was impossible to completely refine the great emperor of the silver goblin race's source of power. Right now, he was just feeling a little emotional and a little regretful. After his cultivation level had broken through consecutively, Lin Feng felt that the magic power in his dantian had undergone an earth-shattering change. For a cultivator like Lin Feng who had accumulated a lot of power, even if it was just a small breakthrough, the increase in his combat power was also quite shocking. After Lin Feng came out of his seclusion, he continued to head deeper into the forest. The map in his mind was a little blurry. Lin Feng needed to find the correct route in the forest. Fortunately, Lin Feng had a lot of experience living in the wilderness, so it was not difficult for him to find the correct route. "Brother Fan, are you here? Brother Fan, are you coming over?" Those voices resounded in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. That girl knew that he was coming? The fluctuations emitted by the ancient devil ring were getting stronger and stronger, and Lin Feng was gradually approaching that place. However, Lin Feng had no idea what would happen next. However, he was extremely curious about the brother Fan that the girl had called out to him. What was going on with this brother Fan? At some point, Lin Feng even had doubts. This brother Fan must have been a terrifying existence in the past, right? Could it be that he was the reincarnation of brother Fan? However, this possibility was quickly rejected by Lin Feng. If he was really a reincarnated body, he should have recovered the memories of his previous life when he entered the divine realm. It was impossible for him to not have any memories of his past life. Of course, some people might not be able to recover the memories of their past life for their entire life. However, even if they could not recover the memories of their past life, they would still have some differences compared to ordinary people. For example, some intermittent images would occasionally appear in their minds. Or, when they woke up one day, they would suddenly have some powerful divine abilities appear in their minds. However, these things had never happened to Lin Feng. Now, Lin Feng had already broken through to the Di-Chi layer. Reincarnated bodies would start to show differences from ordinary people when they entered the divine realm. However, such a situation had never happened to Lin Feng. That was why Lin Feng denied the possibility of him being a reincarnated body. Lin Feng did not know if this brother Fan was really related to him. Perhaps he would be able to find out everything after meeting that young girl? Not long after, Lin Feng saw a lake. "Brother Fan, have you arrived? Yusin is in the depths. Yusin is waiting for you here." That voice rang in Lin Feng's mind once again. "I'm not some brother Fan. I'm your brother Feng." Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter in his heart. However, he then remembered that the girl was in existence from who knows how many tens of thousands of years ago. His words didn't seem to be appropriate. Just as Lin Feng was about to enter the lake, a group of cultivators suddenly flew over from afar. It was actually the group of people from the Hidden Clan. There were only 4 people left from the Hidden Sect. He wondered if the rest of them had died in the Dark World. Seeing that these people had arrived, Lin Feng hurriedly hid. If he was discovered by these people, his life would be in danger. The crying sounds should be coming from here, a great emperor said. Then, he flew into the lake impatiently. However, just as he entered the lake, his body fell into the lake uncontrollably. With a splash, his body fell into the lake. There must be a sky restriction law above the lake, Tian Fa Overlord said. The great emperor who had fallen into the lake wanted to swim back up. However, His body suddenly started to tremble violently. "Brother Liu, what's wrong?" Tian Fa Overlord and the others looked at the Great Emperor in confusion. Ah! Suddenly, the Great Emperor cried out in pain. Then, his body fell into the lake. In the next moment, suddenly, a large amount of blood gushed out from the lake. That Great Emperor was clearly in trouble. What happened? Tian Fa Overlord and the other two looked extremely gloomy. They were so close to the lake. They didn't even know what was going on. This made their hearts sink. Holy **T. This lake is so scary. If I had flown in just now, wouldn't I have died in the lake like that unlucky guy? Lin Feng felt a lingering fear in his heart. Brother Fan my **S. He's just trying to scam people to death without paying for it. How dare he call me Brother Fan? Then, Lin Feng could not help but curse in his heart. What do we do now? One of the great emperors asked with a gloomy expression. Let's wait and see. Tian Fa Overlord said. The other two great emperors nodded. Right now, they had no other way to deal with it. They could only wait here. At this moment, something suddenly floated out from the depths. Not long after, a bamboo raft slowly sailed out. This bamboo raft was extremely strange. There were many ferocious beasts' heads tied to the bottom. The ferocious beasts' heads seemed to have been hollowed out. Only their fur was left. They were blown into a round shape, and the place where they breathed out was tied up with ropes. Then, they were tied to the bottom of the raft to increase the raft's buoyancy. Chapter 3029. Let's go up and take a look, said the demon sovereign. The other two nodded. Then, the three of them boarded the raft. Roar! After they boarded the raft, something shocking happened. The heads of the ferocious beasts that were tied to the raft seemed to have come to life. The heads of the ferocious beasts let out a series of low growls. The ferocious eyes of the ferocious beasts shone with an eerie light. Tian Fa's group of three couldn't help but jump in fright. They almost jumped to the shore. However, after seeing that nothing strange was happening, the three of them relaxed. Then, the raft floated toward the lake. Soon, they disappeared. Clearly, they had entered the depths of the lake. What's that raft? It's so strange. Lin Feng frowned. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At that moment, more cultivators flew over. There were 15 of them. It was Su Tianqing and the others. Half of the great emperors from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external factions have died? Lin Feng looked at Su Tianqing and the others and pondered. Then, he sneered. The great emperors of the three factions had lost so many experts. It was definitely a huge blow to them. Although there were many great emperors from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external factions, they could not withstand such losses. The great emperors did not look too good. They had experienced too many dangers in the world of darkness. It was not easy to reach this place. It's in the depths of the lake. We're close to the source of the secret. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go in now, said one of the great emperors. He was about to fly into the lake. Wait, Su Tianqing suddenly said. Why are you stopping me, Daoisu? Asked the great emperor. Wait, said Su Tianqing. He waved his sleeve and a blood-red bat flew out. Su Tianqing looked like a sage, but he was actually rearing a terrifying and evil creature like a blood-red bat. At first glance, one could tell that he was a sanctimonious person. Evil water flowed in his bones. It was just that he was very good at hiding it. The blood-red bat flew to the top of the lake, but then it fell down. Then, the blood-red bat was submerged by the lake water. Then, blood spurted out. The blood-red bat died. This Su Tianqing was extremely cautious and had countless tricks up his sleeve. Thus, he discovered the strangeness of this place. Seeing this, everyone was extremely shocked, especially the myriad race great emperor who was about to fly into the lake. He felt a lingering fear. He quickly thanked Su Tianqing. You don't have to be so polite, fellow Taoist, Su Tianqing said with a smile. What should we do next? A cultivator asked. Su Tianqing said, this is a world where flying is forbidden. However, since such a lake has appeared, I guess that there might be a way to cross the lake soon. Hearing Su Tianqing's words, Everyone nodded and stood by the lake to wait. These great emperors from the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other external forces trusted Su Tianqing greatly. Not long after, 3 bamboo bowls floated out. These 3 bamboo rafts were the same as the bamboo raft from before. The only difference was that the ferocious beast heads tied to the bottom of the bamboo raft were different. 3 bamboo rafts are coming out. A great emperor said, "Get on the bamboo raft." Su Tianqing said. Then, these people divided into 3 groups and boarded the bamboo rafts. Each bamboo raft seemed to be able to carry a maximum of 5 people. This was because after the 5 people boarded the bamboo raft, the raft began to leak water. If too many people boarded the raft might sink because of this. Roar, roar, roar. Earth-shattering roars rang out. The ferocious beast heads under the bamboo raft came to life again. Each ferocious beast head let out an earth-shattering roar. Then, the 3 bamboo rafts moved toward the depths of the lake. After seeing Su Tianqing and the others leave, Lin Feng was about to make a move when he suddenly saw 5 people appear. He did not know who these 5 people were. There were men and women, and they were all very powerful. They waited for a while. Then, a bamboo raft floated out, and the 5 people boarded it. The bamboo raft then floated toward the depths of the lake. After the 5 people left, Lin Feng walked out of his hiding place. Looks like there's more than one group of cultivators who entered the world of darkness. These people are all very powerful. They actually all found this lake. Is there really a shocking opportunity hidden in the depths of the lake? Lin Feng could not help but think. He came to the side of the lake. Not long after, a bamboo raft floated out. Lin Feng also boarded the raft. Roar, roar, roar. The bamboo raft floated toward the depths of the lake. Lin Feng carefully observed the ferocious beast heads. There were a total of 4 ferocious beast heads tied to the 4 corners of the raft. Each ferocious beast head was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Lin Feng did not know what species these ferocious beasts were. After all, there were too many species in this world. He was familiar with the classic of mountains and seas. However, there were many ferocious beasts that were not recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. The bamboo raft floated toward the depths of the lake. Suddenly, Lin Feng noticed that the lake behind them had turned blood-red. Gurgle, gurgle. Blood-red bubbles kept rising from the lake. When Lin Feng saw the blood-red bubbles, he was shocked. Something terrifying was probably emerging from the blood-red lake. Whoosh! Suddenly, Lin Feng saw a huge wave in the distance. It was a blood-red wave that was at least 10,000 meters tall. It looked like a ferocious beast's tail had whipped up a huge wave. Danger! Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. He felt a dangerous aura. Roar! 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 At this moment, the 4 heads of the ferocious beasts let out a series of roars. Then, the 4 ferocious beast heads turned into 4 ferocious beasts. The 4 ferocious beasts bared their fangs and brandished their claws. The 4 ferocious beasts charged forward. Each of the ferocious beasts had a rope around its neck. The other end of the rope was tied to the bamboo raft. The 4 ferocious beasts pulled the bamboo raft and ran above the lake. In the lake behind them, there seemed to be something chasing after them at high speed. Lin Feng even saw a blurry figure appear in the blood-red lake. It was definitely a huge monster. However, he did not know what it was. It was hiding in the lake and had locked onto him, chasing after him. Chapter 30. The 4 ferocious beasts were extremely fast, but the unknown creature hidden under the lake was not slow either. Lin Feng took out the black flame bow. He drew the bow and shot arrows. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A series of energy arrows condensed and shot towards the unknown creature hiding under the blood-colored lake. But at that moment, an astonishing thing happened. When Lin Feng's arrow was about to hit the enemy's face turned pale. The arrows shattered the moment they came into contact with the surface of the lake. This was an arrow shot from the black flame bow. It could easily kill a quasi-emperor expert. But now, all those arrows had been destroyed in such a bizarre manner. It was truly inconceivable. Lin Feng's face turned pale with fright. It was not that these arrows were not powerful enough. It was because the unknown creature under the blood-colored lake was too terrifying. It directly controlled the void above the lake. Lin Feng felt that a terrifying magnetic field had formed in that area. It was that terrifying magnetic field. It destroyed those arrows. This magnetic field was very special. It was very similar to the magnetic field formed by Lin Feng's domineering aura. Could it be that the terrifying creature below also had domineering aura? Could it be a living tyrant beast? If that was the case, then it was too terrifying. Tyrants were definitely one of the most terrifying creatures in the world. Some time ago, when he was training with Taoist Wu Yang in the ancient chaotic nation, Lin Feng obtained a tyrant bone. That tyrant bone allowed his epic hockey to evolve from the second stage of white hockey to the third stage of red hockey. Lin Feng had already refined 2 tyrant bones, but he had never seen a tyrant beast. If there really was a tyrant beast in front of him, who could defeat such a terrifying creature? It was rumored that tyrants had disappeared in the long river of time. Now, it seemed that this rumor was not reliable. Roar, 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 roar. The 4 ferocious beasts roared. As if there was wind under their feet, they became faster and faster. Lin Feng was already extremely fast, but now he could not help but be shocked when he saw the speed of the 4 ferocious beasts. Even if he unleashed his full speed, he would not be able to compare with the 4 ferocious beasts. There were too many rare beasts in this world, and many of them possessed abilities that would shock anyone. The 4 ferocious beasts finally helped Lin Feng get rid of the terrifying and unknown creature that was chasing after them. Not long after, Lin Feng saw a destroyed bamboo raft. The heads of the 4 ferocious beasts were also torn apart. He did not know which group of people had been killed. It seemed that they had died at the hands of the terrifying creature in the lake. The 4 ferocious beasts did not slow down. One day later, a huge canyon appeared in the middle of the lake. 4 ferocious beasts pulled the bamboo raft into the canyon. When they arrived in the valley, Lin Feng was surprised to see many murals on both sides of the valley. "Stop," said Lin Feng hastily. When the 4 ferocious beasts heard Lin Feng's command, they all stopped. Lin Feng looked at the murals on the walls. Soon, a shocked expression appeared on his face. The murals seemed to be about the demonic beasts. The first mural depicted the demonic beasts created by Nuwa. After countless years, the demonic beasts began to multiply. The second mural depicted the rise of some powerful demonic beasts. The third mural depicted the appearance of 2 supreme demonic beasts. The first supreme demonic beast was called the demonic Emperor Dijun. The second supreme demonic beast was called the demonic Emperor Tai. These 2 supreme demonic beasts were born in the vast pure land of the heavenly realm. The demonic Emperor Dijun and the demonic Emperor Tai joined forces to form a faction called the Heavenly Court. This is a story from the legends. Lin Feng was shocked. These murals depicted the legends of the legends. According to the legends, the demonic Emperor Dijun and the demonic Emperor Tai joined forces to form the Heavenly Court. The 2 of them joined forces to rule the Heavenly Court. Lin Feng continued reading. The more he read, the more shocked he became. After the establishment of the Heavenly Court, some Khanate life forms felt that their authority over the myriad worlds was being challenged. Thus, they wanted to destroy the Heavenly Court. Thus, a few powerful Khanate life forms joined forces to attack the Heavenly Court. However, the demonic Emperor Dijun and the demonic Emperor Tai were too powerful. They joined forces with many cultivators who were already dissatisfied with the Khanate life forms and waged a great war against them. This war was known as the War of the Heavenly Demons. In the end, the War of the Heavenly Demons ended with the demonic beast's victory. This was the first time the Khanate life forms had suffered such a heavy blow. In truth, the Khanate life forms of this era were already showing signs of decline. Nuwa, Pangu, Fire God Zhurong, the Empyrean Maiden, Exalted One, and other existences had all disappeared for countless years. Most of the Khanate life forms of today were born later. Their desire for power was extremely strong. Unlike the Khanate life forms of Nuwa's era, everyone lived in peace and there were no disputes over power. After the fall of the Khanate life forms, the Heavenly Court ruled by the demonic beasts became even more powerful. Many great worlds and vital planets declared their allegiance to the heavenly court. They chose to be protected by the heavenly court rather than continue to live under the rule and exploitation of the Khanate life forms. In the beginning, the heavenly court was indeed a place where everyone submitted. However, the demonic Emperor Tai had died in an accident. His death had been extremely sudden. The classic of mountains and seas wrote, "The demonic Emperor Tai went out and died in an accident." Here, pawn. It meant death. The demonic Emperor Tai had died in an accident. Apart from that, there was no other news. How could someone as powerful as the demonic Emperor Tai have died in an accident? This was one of the greatest secrets of the universe for countless eons. But now, Lin Feng saw some shocking content on the murals. A 7-colored auspicious cloud flew over, and a graceful fairy stood on top of it. She seemed to be saying something to the demonic Emperor Tai. The demonic Emperor Tai's expression grew anxious. After giving some instructions, the demonic Emperor Tai left with the woman. Not long after, news of the demonic Emperor Tai's death spread. Does the demonic Emperor Tai's death have anything to do with that mysterious woman? Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. This was definitely a shocking secret, but he couldn't find out the woman's identity. This was a great pity. Lin Feng continued to look at the murals. After the demonic Emperor Tai's death, the demonic Emperor Dijun took control of the heavenly court alone. When the demonic Emperor Tai was still around, no matter what happened, the two of them would discuss and decide. However, after the demonic Emperor Dijun took control of the heavenly court alone, he started to become obstinate and self-opinionated. This caused some factions to be dissatisfied. One of them was an extremely powerful race called the Shaman race. This race was dissatisfied with the demonic Emperor Dijun's arbitrary rule, so they left the heavenly court. After that, many factions left the heavenly court one after another. Even within the demonic beasts, there were many tribes that were dissatisfied with the demonic Emperor Dijun's rule and announced their departure. The demonic Emperor Dijun didn't care about the attitudes of others. He became more and more dictatorial, especially in his later years. Life and death were decided with a single thought. Chapter 30-31. In Dijun's later years, the heavenly court's power had greatly declined. It was no longer as glorious and cohesive as before. When the shifter Emperor Dijun was in his later years, something happened that completely changed the structure of the world. It turned out that Dijun had 10 sons. These 10 sons were the famous golden crows. The golden crows lived in the Fusang tree. These golden crows felt bored and turned into suns. They roasted the land day and night, causing countless living beings to die tragically. The grand shaman of the shaman race, Hoi, sympathized with the world and found immortal materials. He created the sun-slaying divine bow and sun-slaying divine arrow. Hoi drew the bow and shot the arrows, killing Dijun's sons. Beast sovereign Dijun was enraged and killed Hoi personally. The shaman race was naturally unwilling. Thus, a war broke out. This war was the famous War of Shamans and Demons in history. These scenes seem to be telling the future generations about the tragic situation of the War of Shamans and Demons. The War of Shamans and Demons swept through thousands of worlds. In the beginning, it was only a war between the shaman race and the heavenly court. However, with the help of the Khanate life forms, the war's range became wider and wider. The outcome of this war was extremely tragic. The shaman race withdrew from the stage of history. In the long years that followed, the once powerful shaman race never appeared again. There were rumors that the shaman race was exterminated in the War of Shamans and Demons. The demon race was also on the decline. This was especially true for Dijun, who had perished not long after the battle had ended. In the past, Dijun and Demon Emperor Tai created the glory of the demon race. The War of Heavenly Demons established the demon race's supreme prestige and orthodox status. The War of Shamans and Demons pushed the demon race into the abyss. The demon race was unable to recover for many years. Thus, even now, many demon race hated Dijun more than they were grateful to him. Among the gods worshipped by the demon race, Dijun's status was far from being comparable to Demon Emperor Tai's in the same era. The era of the demon race ruling the heavenly court came to an end. The Khanate life forms that added fuel to the fire in the war were unable to control the heavenly court. At this time, a new race rose. This race was the human race. To be precise, this race was the innate human race. They were the earliest humans, for example, the Celestial clan, Immortal clan, and others. They all possessed special and powerful bloodlines. The innate human race took over the Heaven Court, and from then on, the Heaven Court was under the control of the human race. Until now, nothing had changed. However, as time passed, the human race began to split apart. A portion of the human race, such as the Immortal race and the Celestial race, were still powerful. The other part of the human race became more and more mediocre as their bloodline was diluted. As for the Immortal race who ruled the Heaven realm, the Celestial race no longer acknowledged that they had any connection with the human race. They were a brand new race, a noble race that was high and mighty. Lin Feng finished looking at all the murals. The final mural depicted the Celestial race, Immortal race, and other races ruling the heavenly court. The rest of the story was lost. When was this mural painted? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. The murals were too extraordinary. They had not been destroyed even after such a long time. Furthermore, the murals also revealed some secrets that had long been lost in the long river of history. The content of the murals has always been related to the demon race. Is there a deeper meaning behind it? Lin Feng could not help but ponder. He felt that there was a deeper meaning behind it. Suddenly, a thought appeared in his mind. Could this world of darkness be related to the demon race? Lin Feng could not help but be shocked when he thought of this. Perhaps this was really a possibility. Lin Feng allowed the beasts to continue pulling him deeper into the lake. Not long after, Lin Feng saw an island. It was an island that had appeared in the middle of a lake. The bamboo raft stopped beside the island, and Lin Feng boarded the island. On the island, the ancient forest was extremely dense. Occasionally, the roars of beasts could be heard. "You're here. Big Brother Fan, you're here." An excited voice rang out in his mind. It was the mysterious girl called Uxian. Lin Feng did not know who she was. He only knew that she was waiting for her, Big Brother Fan. And he was not her Big Brother Fan. Lin Feng looked at the ancient devil ring in his hand. Recently, Lin Feng had been thinking about something. The reason why Uxian thought of him as her Big Brother Fan. Could it be related to the ancient devil ring? Lin Feng guessed a certain possibility. The ancient devil ring was actually created by this Big Brother Fan that Uxian mentioned. Or perhaps, this Big Brother Fan was one of the owners of the ancient devil ring? Of course, these were all just Lin Feng's guesses. As for the specific situation, he would have to wait until the future to verify it. Lin Feng carefully walked deeper into the island. Within the island, danger lurked everywhere. Moreover, there might be other great emperors hiding somewhere, spying on the cultivators who entered the island. He had to be careful. Otherwise, he might die on the island. As Lin Feng walked deeper into the island, he saw some powerful beasts. These beasts were very terrifying, and their auras were monstrous. He would immediately leave the area where the beasts were. Finally, Lin Feng arrived at the center of the island. He saw a huge tree. When he saw the huge tree, Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. On the huge tree, there were many Dharma treasures. Many of the Dharma treasures emitted extremely terrifying energy waves. Some of the Dharma treasures emitted auras that were not any weaker than immortal weapons. Oh my God, what kind of tree is that? It actually formed Dharma treasures. Lin Feng's face was filled with disbelief. What was happening before their eyes was indeed too unimaginable. No matter who saw it, they wouldn't dare to believe that it was actually real. Lin Feng saw Su Tianqing and other great emperors wandering around, looking at the huge tree in shock. "Demon Lord, what's with that tree?" Lin Feng could not help but ask. There were about 100 weapons on the ancient tree. Lin Feng felt that even the weakest weapon was comparable to an emperor weapon. The powerful weapons were comparable to immortal weapons. There were also a few supreme weapons. Those weapons were even more terrifying. Their auras were even stronger than immortal weapons. Everything before his eyes was like a dream. Even in a dream, it might be difficult to see such a shocking scene. But everything that happened in front of him was the truth. This was not a dream. There was actually an ancient tree that could form Dharma treasures between heaven and earth. It was like a fairy tale. The demon lord was also dumbfounded. He was also shocked by the scene before him. Chapter 30-32. The demon lord asked, "Are we dreaming? Or have we fallen into an illusion?" Even the demon lord could not be sure if what was happening was real. It was no wonder that the demon lord was so confused. No one would dare to believe what they were seeing. The demon lord was not the only one who could not believe what he was seeing. The great emperors in the distance could not believe what they were seeing. Is this a dream? This should be an illusion, right? Many great emperors muttered, "No, this is real." Su Tianqing said. His expression was extremely excited. He said, "I know what kind of tree this is. I thought it was just a myth. I didn't expect it to be real." Daoist Su, what kind of tree is this? Many people asked one after another. They all wanted to know the origin of this ancient tree. This ancient tree was simply too extraordinary. It piqued everyone's interest. This was especially true for the countless weapons on the ancient tree. Those weapons were too attractive. Even the weakest weapon was comparable to an emperor weapon. Some of the stronger weapons were comparable to immortal weapons. There were even weapons with auras stronger than immortal weapons. If they could obtain those weapons, how much would their combat power increase? Just thinking about it made many people extremely excited. Myriad weapon tree. Su Tianqing said, "Myriad weapon tree? What kind of tree is that?" Some great emperors asked curiously. They had never heard of such a tree. The great emperors of the other factions, such as the demon lord Tian Fa, and another group of 5 great emperors were listening quietly. It was also their first time hearing about such a mysterious ancient tree. Su Tianqing continued, "Rumor has it that the myriad weapon tree only appears at the beginning and end of an epoch. If you can see it, you might be able to obtain the weapons on it. It's said that the myriad weapon tree is an immortal tree born from the providence of the world. Any cultivator who can obtain the weapons on the tree will be blessed by the providence of the world. Their future achievements will be limitless with the help of the providence of the world." 3,000 eras have already passed. This is the end of the epoch. Earlier, the 5 decays of the heavenly man appeared. Next, the world underwent a great change. Now, the myriad weapon tree has appeared. It seems this epoch is truly going to be destroyed. A grand emperor couldn't help but sigh. Su Tianqing said, "Fellow Daoist son, there's no need to be so emotional. Although this era isn't the best era, it's definitely the most exciting one. If it was another era, would we be able to become immortals? If we succeed in breaking through to the immortal realm, we might be able to live to the next epoch when the epoch collapses. As long as we live long enough, we might be able to search for the secret of eternal life in the future." That's right. That's right. Eternal life. Many great emperors couldn't help but tremble slightly when they mentioned these 2 words. Who didn't want eternal life? Perhaps there really were experts in this world who could achieve eternal life. However, they had yet to come into contact with experts of that level. "I'll try and see if I can take these divine weapons," a myriad tribe grand emperor said. This myriad tribe grand emperor had a pair of huge wings. His head was like an eagle's, but his body was that of a human. This was the grand emperor of the divine eagle tribe. Swoosh, swoosh. The grand emperor of the divine eagle tribe flapped his wings and flew towards the ancient tree. This ancient tree was very special. Even the void around the ancient tree was distorted. It was preventing all living beings from getting close to it. When the divine eagle tribe cultivator got close to the ancient tree, he was stopped by the distorted space. "Are you trying to stump me with your petty tricks?" The grand emperor of the divine eagle tribe sneered. Today, he was determined to obtain these treasures. There were so many treasures, so he had to obtain at least 1 or 2 of them. If he were to obtain such a formidable magic treasure, to what terrifying level would his combat prowess rise to? Thinking of this, the grand emperor of the divine eagle tribe felt as if his blood was about to boil. He was extremely excited. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, the grand emperor of the divine eagle tribe displayed an extremely extraordinary ability. His wings flapped rapidly. It was a pair of wings that could penetrate the void world. It flapped gently. The void world seemed to be about to split open. It was too extraordinary. Although the space around the ancient tree was distorted, the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe still had the extraordinary ability to travel through the void world with his wings. The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe continued to approach the ancient tree. Is he really going to succeed? Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. If the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe could succeed, he wanted to give it a try. Lin Feng had his eyes on the 3 treasures at the top of the ancient tree. The first treasure was a cloak. This should be a defensive-type magic treasure. Of course, such high-level treasures usually had extremely terrifying weapon spirits. Therefore, it couldn't be regarded as a defensive treasure. It was just like Lin Feng's Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. Although Lin Feng used it as a defensive treasure, it was still very powerful. In fact, the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda also had extremely powerful offensive capabilities. Obviously, the cloak was the same. The cloak was one of the 3 treasures with auras that surpassed immortal artifacts. The other 3 treasures with auras that surpassed immortal artifacts were an ancient map and an ancient book. The ancient map was extraordinary. It was surrounded by dragon chi. The ancient book was also extraordinary. The ancient book was surrounded by a ball of sacred light. Lin Feng didn't know what the 2 treasures were for now. However, since their auras surpassed immortal artifacts, they were definitely unimaginable treasures. If he could obtain them, he would definitely be extremely powerful. At this moment, the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe had already approached the ancient tree. The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe had the same idea as Lin Feng. When he got close to the ancient tree, he flew towards the 3 treasures at the top. Obviously, he wanted to obtain the 3 treasures at the top. However, at this moment, the treasures growing on the ancient tree started to move. Swish, swish, those swish, 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 those swish, 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 swish. Every single swish of swish, 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 swish. It was extremely terrifying. The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe's expression changed. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He turned around and fled. However, it was already too late. The attacks from the terrifying treasures enveloped the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe. No! The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe let out a terrified roar. He took out a few treasures to block those terrifying attacks. However, it was useless. His body exploded. He died on the spot. Chapter 3033. The 10,000 Weapon Tree was truly terrifying. An Emperor Realm expert had fallen just like that. It was truly shocking. The fall of the Divine Eagle clan's great emperor made everyone's expression turn solemn. Such a powerful existence had died too easily. Who could obtain the divine weapons on the 10,000 Weapon Tree? If they were to leave like this, it was obvious that no one would be willing to do so. We can't get close to the 10,000 Weapon Tree, a cultivator said. An extremely solemn expression appeared between his brows. How could they get close to the 10,000 Weapon Tree? Wanting to obtain those powerful treasures from the 10,000 Weapon Tree was simply an impossible task. Brother Su, what do you think? Then, someone looked at Su Tianqing. Su Tianqing had many tricks up his sleeves. If he could obtain the treasures on the 10,000 Weapon Tree, Su Tianqing might have the greatest chance. It's indeed very troublesome. I can't think of a solution for now. Su Tianqing said. Everyone immediately felt regretful. If they couldn't obtain such an amazing opportunity, they would regret it for the rest of their lives. They didn't just want to obtain the powerful treasures. Most importantly, they also wanted to obtain the blessing of the world's providence. The more powerful the magic treasure one obtained, the more powerful the heaven and earth fate would be. Everyone was very clear about this. Originally, cultivators who wanted to go against the heavens and seas fate needed a strong amount of providence as support. However, the method of absorbing providence was simply too difficult. Now that it was a good opportunity to devour the providence, everyone naturally wanted to make good use of this opportunity. As for whether they could make good use of it, that would depend on their luck and destiny. Boom! At this moment, something shocking happened. A hazy and blurry world appeared behind the 10,000 weapon tree. Woo woo woo! Then, a sobbing sound could be heard from the hazy and blurry world. When everyone heard the sobbing sound, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The mysterious sobbing sound that had disappeared for a while was heard again. Moreover, it came from the world behind the 10,000 weapon tree. Who is crying? The great emperors all frowned and looked at the hazy and blurry world with gloomy expressions. Gradually, the world became real. Everyone saw a woman. She was alone, kneeling in front of a lone grave, crying. She was crying so sadly that it made people feel sad. Is it her? Lin Feng stared at the woman's back. Stop pretending. Some great emperor realm experts had cold expressions. I'll shoot her with an arrow. One of the emperors of the myriad races said coldly. He took out a huge bow and pulled it back to shoot an arrow. Whoosh! The arrow pierced through the void, entered the slightly illusory world, and then shot toward the woman. The weeping woman had her back to everyone. No one could see her face clearly. When the arrow flew over, the woman didn't dodge it. She allowed the arrow to pierce through her body. After the arrow pierced through her body, the woman disappeared without a trace. It really is an illusion, just as I guessed. The great emperor who shot the arrow said with a cold smile. But at this time, the others all retreated and looked at the great emperor who shot the arrow in fear. The great emperor who shot the arrow had a puzzled expression, as if he had sensed something. The great emperor who shot the arrow turned around and looked behind him. Suddenly, he saw the woman appear behind him. You. The great emperor realm expert's expression changed drastically. He wanted to retreat quickly, but at this time, the woman reached out and gently tapped him. Immediately, the great emperor found that his body couldn't move. She was a woman who was as beautiful as heaven and earth. She was like a fairy who had fallen to the mortal world. When Lin Feng saw her, he was stunned. Lin Feng could finally confirm something. This woman was exactly the same as the woman who appeared in his dream. She was so beautiful, so otherworldly, like a fairy from the 9 heavens that made people's hearts pound. But at the same time, people couldn't help but feel that they couldn't bear to blaspheme her. This woman's beauty was a kind of beauty that couldn't be described with words. I didn't mean to do that. Spare me. Spare me. The great emperor from the myriad races looked at the woman with pleading eyes. The domineering aura from before had long disappeared. Now, there was only deep fear in his heart. He had never seen such a terrifying existence. With just a tap, his body was imprisoned. Just how terrifyingly powerful did one have to be in order to possess such an ability? Turn into a rune, the woman said softly. Her voice was so beautiful and pleasant to the ears. But to the people around, it was even more terrifying than the voice of a demon. The woman tapped lightly. In an instant, the great emperor turned into a rune. The rune flew towards the giant tree and fused with it. What kind of technique is this? Everyone was shocked. They didn't know what technique the woman had used to turn a powerful great emperor into a rune. Wasn't this technique too terrifying? Let's go, let's go, Su Tianqing whispered. He was completely stunned. Even though the 10,000 weapon tree was filled with divine weapons, he still couldn't move. He didn't dare to have any thoughts about those treasures anymore. The rest of the great emperors had the same thought. The mysterious woman in front of them was too terrifying. As long as she was here, the great emperors wouldn't be able to survive. As long as she was here, no one would be able to obtain the fortuitous encounter here. The great emperors were depressed. They had gone through so much to reach this place and suffered so many losses along the way. Now, they had finally found the fortuitous encounter. But now, they were going to miss out on such an amazing opportunity. They were extremely unwilling to accept this. But, so what if they were unwilling to accept this outcome? The mysterious woman ignored Su Tianqing and the others. She looked at the place where Lin Feng was hiding. She found me. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. The other great emperors quickly left the place. They didn't dare to stay here any longer. Brother Fan, you're here? The woman asked softly. She was so beautiful. She was like the purest fairy in the world. Lin Feng walked out from his hiding place and said with a grin, That's right. Your brother Fan is here. Hurry up and take all the divine weapons from the 10,000 weapon tree and give them to me. If possible, give me the 10,000 weapon tree as well. Chapter 30-34. This woman called him Brother Fan in her dreams. She called him Brother Fan when she saw him in reality. In that case, he would pretend to be her Brother Fan for the time being. Lin Feng felt that he was too kind. He could not bear to see this beautiful woman sad. Hence, he decided to pretend to be her Brother Fan. The beautiful woman looked at Lin Feng. She did not walk towards Lin Feng. Instead, she stood there quietly and looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng could not help but mutter in his heart. Could this woman know that he was an impostor? If that was the case, would she kill him with a slap? No matter how big Lin Feng's heart was, he could not help but feel a chill down his spine when he saw the woman's gaze. At that moment, the ancient devil ring vibrated violently. The woman's attention was attracted by the ancient devil ring. She looked at the ancient devil ring in Lin Feng's hand. She stretched out her hand and waved gently at the ancient devil ring. Instantly, the ancient devil ring struggled free from Lin Feng's hand and flew towards the woman. The woman held it in her hand. The woman stared at the ancient devil ring in a daze. She seemed to be in deep thought. Lin Feng did not know what the woman was thinking. He felt that since he had already pretended to be this so-called Brother Fan, he might as well pretend to be her all the way. There was no turning back. Lin Feng said, "Yusin, I did not expect to see you again after so many years. Brother Fan is really happy." Yusin was her name. It was a very beautiful name. Yusin looked at Lin Feng and said, "You are not my Brother Fan." After hearing Yusin's words, Lin Feng felt as if he was struck by lightning. This woman had already discovered that he was not her so-called Brother Fan. Next, what was she going to do to him? Would he be turned into a rune like the Emperor of 10,000 races and be devoured by the 10,000 weapon tree? Or would there be an even more tragic end? Lin Feng could only smile bitterly. He didn't think that things would come to this point. He really wanted to cry but had no tears. "You were the one who kept calling me Brother Fan. Brother Fan? How could you say that I'm not your Brother Fan in the blink of an eye? You can't play with me like this, right?" Lin Feng found that his lips were dry. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. "You dare to impersonate my Brother Fan? Have you thought of the consequences?" Uxian looked at Lin Feng coldly, and her voice turned cold. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, "Fairy, this is all a misunderstanding. I saw that you kept calling me Big Brother Fan. In order to relieve Fairy's lovesickness, I did this." Yusin sneered. "So, I should be the one thanking you?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "You don't have to thank me. It's getting late, so I won't disturb Fairy's rest any longer. I'll take my leave now." Yusin sneered. "You've done so many wrong things. Don't you think you're dreaming if you think you can leave so easily?" Lin Feng's heart sank to the bottom. He had really gone too far this time, and he had exposed himself. He really wanted to cry but had no tears. Lin Feng said, "Fairy, please calm down. A beautiful fairy like you definitely isn't a murderous person. Can you give me a chance to explain? There's no point in saying such nice words. You've already crossed my bottom line. You won't be able to atone for your sins unless you die," Yusin said coldly. At this moment, she seemed to have transformed into a goddess of death from hell. She was so terrifying. She was so strong. Even a great emperor might not be able to withstand a single blow from her. Lin Feng didn't know where Yusin came from, but he knew. She must have been so terrifying in the past that he couldn't even imagine. Seeing that Yusin was about to attack, Lin Feng said anxiously, "Fairy, is that thing in your hand the Big Brother Fan you mentioned? It has been with me for many years. This means that I'm fated with your Big Brother Fan. Do you really have the heart to kill someone who's fated with your Big Brother Fan?" "Fated with my Big Brother Fan," Yusin muttered to herself after hearing Lin Feng's words. She dispersed the magic power in her body and stared at the ancient devil ring in her hand in a daze. Lin Feng was overjoyed. He could sense that something was going on in the woman's body. It was a change in her mood. Moreover, the killing intent on her body was quickly dispersing. "How did you get this ring?" Yusin asked. Lin Feng said, "I got it by chance when I was training in the past. The ring has been following me ever since." There were a few times when I was in danger, and the ring actually changed and saved me. Yusin nodded and returned the ring to Lin Feng. Then, she said, "This ring belongs to you. Keep it well. I'll forgive you for offending my big brother Fan." Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief after hearing Yusin's words. Lin Feng couldn't help but ask, "If I may ask, who is this big brother Fan you mentioned?" Yusin looked at Lin Feng and said, "He's a world-shaking figure." Lin Feng muttered in his heart. She might as well not have said anything. Clearly, she didn't want to tell him. That was why she answered in such a way. Lin Feng continued, "I saw you crying in front of a lonely grave. May I know whose grave it is?" Yusin actually shed tears when she heard Lin Feng's words. Yearning is like the endless mortal world. Seeing each other is like seeing a tear. When we part, the heart is filled with sorrow. When we meet again, it's already the vast ocean. I wish you could fly to the 9 heavens. But in the end, I fall to the mortal world. I'm used to seeing the seas dry up and the rocks crumble. My heart for you has never changed." Yusin muttered. She didn't answer Lin Feng's question, but Lin Feng could sense some special emotions from the sad poem. That lonely grave is Big Brother Fan's grave? Lin Feng could not help but guess. Lin Feng didn't know who Big Brother Fan was, but if he could make such a stunning woman unable to forget him, he must have an unimaginable background. Lin Feng felt that he wouldn't be able to get anything out of her even if he asked. Thus, he decided to change the topic. Lin Feng looked at the 10,000 weapons tree and asked, "Celestial being, are those weapons really made by the 10,000 weapons tree?" You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.